Life often feels chaotic and overwhelming, and most people go through their days reacting to everything around them without ever taking control of their attention, energy, or choices. This audiobook is about breaking that cycle. It shows how embracing silence, building focus, and developing discipline can give you control over your life in ways few people talk about. You will learn how to quiet your mind, resist distractions, and take deliberate steps toward your goals every single day. This isn't about quick fixes or empty motivation. It's about real strategies that you can apply immediately to see changes in how you work, think, and live. You'll discover how small daily actions, repeated consistently, create momentum that leads to lasting growth. You'll understand how to protect your time, set boundaries, and invest in habits that actually matter. By the end of this audiobook, you will see how consistent focus and disciplined action can reduce stress, increase clarity, and help you achieve more than you thought possible. You'll feel more confident in making decisions, more aware of what matters, and more capable of taking control of your own life. If you're ready to stop drifting and start moving toward a life of purpose and progress, this audiobook will give you the practical guidance, motivation, and insight to make it happen. Stay with this, apply what you learn, and watch how quiet, steady action changes everything. Chapter 1: Embrace silence to sharpen attention and build inner strength. Silence is not empty, and it is not passive, and it is not a retreat from life, but a deliberate choice to step into control of your own mind in a world that constantly pulls at your attention. Most people live surrounded by noise, not just sound, but mental noise, opinions, expectations, alerts, messages, unfinished conversations, and constant pressure to react. This noise slowly weakens attention, and when attention weakens, discipline becomes difficult. And when discipline fades, life begins to feel scattered and exhausting. Silence is the starting point because it removes the constant pull and gives you space to see clearly again. When the noise drops, you begin to notice your thoughts instead of being dragged by them. You begin to see how often your mind jumps without direction, how easily it reacts, how rarely it stays with one thing long enough to finish it well. Silence is not about escaping responsibility, but about building the inner strength required to handle responsibility with calm focus and steady effort. At first, silence can feel uncomfortable because it removes distraction and exposes restlessness. Many people avoid silence because they do not like what they hear inside their own mind. Thoughts rush in: worries, regrets, plans, unfinished tasks, and random impulses. This discomfort is not a sign that silence is harmful. It is proof that your attention has been trained to depend on stimulation. When you stay with silence instead of running from it, something important happens. The mind begins to settle, not all at once and not perfectly, but gradually. Attention stops bouncing as much. Thoughts slow down. You begin to recognize which thoughts are useful and which are just noise. This is the foundation of self-mastery. You cannot direct a mind you do not understand, and silence is how understanding begins. Inner strength is built the same way physical strength is built, through resistance and consistency. Silence provides resistance because it removes the easy escape of distraction. When you sit without checking your phone, without music, without conversation, your mind wants to flee. Staying anyway builds mental endurance. Each time you resist the urge to escape, you train the part of yourself that chooses long-term growth over short-term comfort. This training carries into every other area of life. When work becomes difficult, when motivation drops, when progress feels slow, the same inner muscle is used. Silence strengthens that muscle quietly and steadily. Silence also sharpens attention by reducing fragmentation. Attention cannot deepen when it is constantly interrupted. Even brief interruptions reset focus and pull mental energy away from what matters. Silence creates an environment where attention can stay with one thing long enough to understand it fully. Reading becomes deeper, thinking becomes clearer, listening becomes more precise. You notice details you previously missed, not because you became smarter overnight, but because your attention stopped being scattered. This clarity makes decisions easier because you see consequences more clearly. You become less reactive and more deliberate. This is a form of power that does not rely on force or speed, but on calm awareness. A practical way to begin is to create short periods of intentional silence each day. This does not require special equipment or perfect conditions. It requires a decision. Choose a time when you will sit or walk without input. No phone, no music, no conversation. Start with 10 minutes. Sit upright or walk slowly and keep your attention on your breathing or the physical sensation of movement. Thoughts will appear, and that is normal. Do not argue with them and do not chase them. Notice them and return attention to the present moment. This is not meditation for relaxation alone, it is training attention to stay where you choose. Over time, this practice increases your ability to focus during work and remain calm during stress. Another application of silence is in conversation. Many people speak quickly, and often not because they have something important to say, but because silence feels uncomfortable. When you allow pauses before responding, you gain control over your words. You listen more carefully and respond with intention rather than impulse. This improves relationships and builds respect. People feel heard when you are not rushing to speak. You also avoid saying things you later regret. Silence in conversation is not weakness, it is discipline in action. Silence also plays a crucial role in emotional regulation. Strong emotions often feel urgent and demand immediate action. When you pause in silence before reacting, you create a gap between feeling and action. In that gap you regain choice. You may still decide to act, but the action will be measured rather than impulsive. This habit prevents many unnecessary conflicts and mistakes. It also builds self-trust because you learn that you can experience strong emotions without being controlled by them. That confidence is a form of inner strength that does not depend on circumstances. Modern life constantly rewards speed and reaction, but real progress often requires patience and depth. Silence trains patience by slowing the pace. It teaches you that not every thought requires a response and not every moment requires stimulation. This reduces mental fatigue. When the mind is less tired, discipline becomes easier. You no longer rely on constant motivation because your energy is not wasted on unnecessary noise. You conserve attention and use it where it matters. A powerful exercise is the silent morning start. Wake up and spend the first 30 minutes without input. No phone, no news, no messages. Sit with a notebook or simply sit with your thoughts. Notice what the mind brings up naturally. Often your true priorities appear when noise is removed. Write down the one task that would make the day meaningful if completed. This simple practice aligns attention with purpose before the world pulls it in different directions. Over time, mornings become calmer and more intentional, and days follow that tone. Silence also reveals habits of avoidance. When distraction is removed, you may notice an urge to escape tasks that feel challenging. This awareness is valuable. It shows where discipline is needed. Instead of judging yourself, use the information. Choose one small action you can take immediately. Do not aim for perfection, aim for movement. Silence makes it clear where effort should be applied. Inner strength is not built through constant stimulation or external validation. It grows when you can sit with yourself without needing approval or entertainment. Silence teaches self-sufficiency. You become less dependent on others to feel settled. This does not mean isolation. It means stability. You can enjoy company without needing it to avoid your own thoughts. You can work alone without feeling restless. This stability supports long-term growth because it reduces emotional swings driven by external factors. Another practical application is silent work blocks. Choose a period of focused work and remove all unnecessary input. Silence notifications, close extra tabs, and work on one task. At first, this may feel difficult because the mind expects interruption. Stay with it. Each completed block builds confidence in your ability to focus. Over time, productivity increases not because you work longer hours, but because your attention is used efficiently. This is disciplined effort supported by silence. Silence also improves self-awareness. When noise is removed, patterns become visible. You see when your energy rises and falls. You notice which activities drain you and which restore you. This knowledge allows better planning. You schedule demanding tasks when attention is strongest and rest when needed. This is not about pushing constantly, but about working intelligently. Silence provides the data needed to make these adjustments. A common fear is that silence will make life dull or disconnected. The opposite is true. When attention sharpens, experiences become richer. Simple moments become clearer. Listening becomes deeper. Work feels more engaging because you are fully present. Pleasure is not dulled but refined. You enjoy things without excess because your senses are not overloaded. This balance supports discipline because you are no longer chasing constant stimulation. Silence also strengthens integrity. When you are not distracted, you become more aware of your values. You notice when actions align or conflict with them. This awareness guides better choices. Discipline is easier when actions are aligned with values because effort feels meaningful. Silence helps clarify those values without external influence. To deepen the practice, include silent reflection at the end of the day. Sit quietly and review actions without judgment. Notice what went well and where attention drifted. Choose one adjustment for tomorrow. This simple review builds consistency. It turns each day into a learning process rather than a cycle of reaction. Over time, patterns shift and progress becomes visible. Silence also builds resilience during difficulty. When challenges arise, the instinct is to seek distraction to avoid discomfort. Silence teaches you to stay present with difficulty without being overwhelmed. You learn that discomfort passes and that clarity returns when you remain steady. This resilience supports long-term goals because setbacks no longer derail effort. You recover faster and continue forward. Another aspect of silence is restraint in consumption. Constant input through media fills the mind with other people's priorities. Silence creates space for your own thinking. Be selective with what you consume. Choose quality over quantity. Leave time each day without input. This protects attention and supports original thought. Creativity and insight often appear in quiet moments when the mind is not occupied. Silence also improves decision-making. When you step back from noise, you see options more clearly. You weigh long-term outcomes rather than reacting to immediate pressure. This leads to fewer regrets and stronger confidence. Even when decisions are difficult, you trust the process because it is grounded in calm assessment rather than impulse. A simple daily commitment can transform this practice. Choose 1 hour each day that includes silence. It can be broken into smaller segments. During that time, remove unnecessary input. Use it for focused work, reflection, or rest. Treat it as non-negotiable. Over weeks, this hour becomes a stabilizing anchor. Attention improves, discipline strengthens, and inner noise decreases. Silence does not mean avoiding responsibility or withdrawing from the world. It means preparing yourself to engage with clarity and strength. After silence, action becomes more effective because it is intentional. Words carry weight. Effort is directed. Energy is conserved. This is the path few talk about because it is simple but not easy. It does not promise quick excitement, but steady growth. Inner strength built through silence shows itself quietly. You become less reactive, more patient, and more reliable. Others may notice calm confidence, but the real benefit is internal. You trust yourself. You know you can face discomfort and remain steady. This trust supports every goal because it removes dependence on mood or circumstance. Over time, silence changes your relationship with time. Moments slow down because you are present. Urgency decreases because you focus on what matters. You stop filling every gap with distraction. This creates space for rest and reflection, which sustains long-term effort. Burnout decreases because your mind is not constantly overstimulated. Silence also encourages honesty. Without noise, it is harder to avoid truths about effort, habits, and priorities. This honesty is not harsh. It is clear. You see where you stand and what needs to change. From this clarity, disciplined action follows naturally. As you continue this practice, remember that progress is gradual. Some days silence will feel calm and productive. Other days it will feel restless. Both are part of training. Do not measure success by comfort. Measure it by consistency. Each day you choose silence, you reinforce attention and strengthen discipline. The path of silence, focus, and discipline is quiet and often overlooked because it lacks spectacle. It does not rely on motivation or external validation. It builds from the inside outward. Silence sharpens attention. Attention supports discipline. Discipline shapes action. Action builds a life of steady improvement. Commit to silence not as an escape but as preparation. Use it to understand your mind, strengthen your focus, and build the inner strength needed for meaningful work. Over time you will notice that life feels less chaotic and more deliberate. Challenges remain, but you meet them with calm effort rather than scattered reaction. Silence gives you back ownership of your attention. With attention you gain choice. With choice you build discipline. With discipline you shape your future. This is the foundation. Stay with it. Keep it simple. Practice daily. The results will appear quietly and steadily, and they will last. Chapter 2. Cultivate focus through daily habits that resist distraction. Focus is not something you are born with, and it is not a personality trait reserved for a few disciplined people. Focus is a skill built through daily habits and protected through conscious choices. In a world designed to pull attention in every direction, focus does not happen by accident. It must be cultivated deliberately, or it will slowly erode without you noticing. Most people think they lack focus when in reality they lack systems that protect it. The mind follows what the environment encourages. If the environment rewards interruption, the mind becomes scattered. If the environment supports depth, the mind learns to stay. Distraction is not always loud or obvious. Often it appears as harmless checking, scrolling, switching tasks, or thinking about what comes next, instead of staying with what is in front of you. Each small distraction seems insignificant, but together they weaken attention. Focus fades not because of one big mistake, but because of many small unguarded moments. The solution is not force or constant self-control, but habits that reduce friction and make focus the easier choice. Focus begins with clarity. When the mind is unclear about what matters, it seeks stimulation to fill the gap. Each day should begin with one clear intention, not a long list, but a single priority that deserves your best attention. This does not limit productivity. It strengthens it. When one task is clearly defined, the mind stops scanning for alternatives. Attention settles because it knows where to go. Write the priority down in simple words. Keep it visible. Return to it whenever distraction appears. Time boundaries are another essential habit. Focus cannot survive open-ended work. When there is no clear start and end, the mind drifts. Set specific periods for focused effort. Decide when you will begin and when you will stop. During that time, remove optional choices. No deciding what to work on or when to check messages. Decisions drain focus. Structure preserves it. When the boundary ends, you step away without guilt. This rhythm trains the mind to engage deeply and rest fully. Distraction often enters through devices. Phones and computers are useful tools, but they are also designed to compete for attention. One practical habit is to separate focused work from connected time. When you work, disconnect. Turn off notifications. Place the phone out of reach. Close unnecessary tabs. This is not extreme. It is intentional. Each notification triggers a shift in attention, even if you do not respond. Removing them protects mental energy. Another powerful habit is starting work before you feel ready. Many people wait for motivation or clarity. Distraction fills the waiting space. Focus grows through action. Begin with a small step. Open the document. Write one sentence. Review one page. Momentum builds focus. The mind engages once effort begins. Waiting invites distraction. Starting creates clarity. Physical environment matters more than willpower. A cluttered space invites mental clutter. Clear your work area before starting. Remove items unrelated to the task. This signals to the mind that it is time for focus. Even small adjustments make a difference. Sit in the same place for focused work. Over time, the mind associates that space with attention. Habits become automatic when cues are consistent. Mental habits also plays a role. Multitasking is one of the biggest enemies of focus. It feels efficient, but it fragments attention. Each switch costs energy. Practice single-direction effort. One task, one screen, one goal. If another thought appears, write it down and return to the task. This trains the mind to stay instead of chase every impulse. Focus improves when energy is managed. Tired minds seek easy stimulation. Basic habits like sleep, movement, and hydration directly affect attention. This is not about perfection, but consistency. Short walks during breaks restore focus. Regular sleep stabilizes attention. Neglecting these basics makes focus harder than it needs to be. Another habit is practicing deliberate pauses. When you finish a task, pause before starting the next. Take a few breaths. This prevents mental carryover. Focus improves when attention resets. Rushing from one task to another creates residue that weakens clarity. Pauses are not wasted time. They protect quality. Focus is also shaped by what you consume. Constant exposure to short, fast content trains the mind to expect novelty. Reduce unnecessary consumption. Be selective. Choose fewer inputs and engage with them fully. This retrains attention to tolerate depth. Over time, reading longer material and thinking more deeply becomes easier. Planning distraction-free time in advance is more effective than resisting distraction in the moment. Decide when you will check messages and social media. Keep those times limited and intentional. Outside those periods, avoid them completely. This reduces internal conflict. The mind relaxes when it knows distraction has a place and time. Another practical habit is using visible progress markers. When progress is visible, focus improves. Break tasks into clear steps. Check them off as you complete them. This reinforces effort and reduces the urge to seek distraction for relief. Progress creates motivation. Motivation supports focus. Distraction often hides behind the desire to feel productive. Busy work feels easier than deep work. Learn to recognize this pattern. When you notice yourself doing low-value tasks, ask whether it moves your priority forward. If not, return to the main task. This habit requires honesty, not judgment. Awareness alone improves focus. Focus strengthens when you reduce open loops. Unfinished tasks linger in the mind and pull attention away. Keep a simple list of tasks and commitments. Write them down instead of holding them mentally. This frees attention for the present task. The mind focuses better when it trusts that nothing important will be forgotten. Another habit is practicing focus even during small moments. Stay present during conversations. Eat without distractions. Walk without checking your phone. These moments train attention in daily life. Focus is not only for work. It is a way of being present. Presence strengthens the same mental muscle used for disciplined effort. Focus also benefits from acceptance. Some days attention will be stronger than others. Fighting this reality creates frustration, which leads to distraction. Accept fluctuations. Adjust expectations but maintain habits. Consistency matters more than intensity. Even a short focused session reinforces the skill. Setting clear rules for yourself reduces decision fatigue. For example, no phone during meals or no email before a certain time. Rules simplify choices. When choices are reduced, focus increases. Discipline feels lighter because it is built into structure rather than constant effort. Another helpful habit is ending work with a clear stopping point. Decide what remains for next time. Write a brief note about where to resume. This allows the mind to rest without holding unfinished threads. Restored minds focus better the next day. Focus grows when goals are meaningful. If a task feels empty, attention resists it. Connect tasks to a larger purpose. Remind yourself why the work matters. Meaning anchors attention. Even difficult tasks become easier when purpose is clear. Silence and solitude support focus, but focus also requires action. Balance reflection with effort. Too much planning becomes avoidance. Too little planning creates chaos. Daily habits bridge the gap. They translate intention into behavior. Resisting distraction is not about isolation from the world. It is about choosing when and how to engage. You decide what deserves your attention. This sense of control builds confidence. You start feeling pulled and start feeling directed. Over time, focused habits reshape identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who finishes tasks and stays present. This identity reinforces behavior. Each focus session is a vote for that identity. Distraction loses its appeal because it no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Focus also improves emotional regulation. When attention is stable, emotions feel manageable. You respond rather than react. This stability supports better decisions and relationships. Focus is not only a productivity skill, it is a life skill. Daily habits may seem small, but their impact compounds. Protecting attention for an hour each day leads to progress that scattered effort cannot match. Depth beats speed over time. Focus turns effort into results. The path of focus is quiet and disciplined. It requires saying no to constant stimulation and yes to sustained effort. This choice is repeated daily. Each day you strengthen or weaken attention through habits. Choose habits that support depth. Commit to cultivating focus not through force but through design. Shape your environment, schedule, and routines to make focus natural. When distraction appears, return gently to the task. Progress comes from persistence, not perfection. As focus strengthens, discipline follows. Work feels lighter. Progress feels steady. The mind becomes calmer because it is no longer pulled in every direction. Life becomes simpler not because there is less to do, but because attention is used well. Stay consistent with small habits. Protect your attention. Focus will grow quietly and steadily. Over time you will notice that what once felt difficult now feels natural. This is the result of daily choices aligned with clarity and purpose. Chapter 3. Build discipline by setting small goals and following through. Discipline is often misunderstood as harsh control or constant pressure, but real discipline is quieter and more patient than that. It is not built through dramatic promises or extreme effort. It is built through small goals that are clear, reasonable, and followed through without negotiation. Most people fail to develop discipline not because they lack desire, but because they aim too high too fast and break trust with themselves. Each broken promise weakens confidence. Each kept promise strengthens it. Discipline grows when you learn to rely on your own actions even when motivation fades. Small goals matter because the mind resists overwhelm. When a goal feels too large, the brain searches for escape. Distraction, procrastination, and self-doubt appear. Small goals reduce resistance. They feel manageable and specific. When a task feels possible, the mind is more willing to engage. This is not lowering standards. It is building momentum. Momentum carries discipline forward more reliably than force. Following through is the most important part. Setting goals without follow-through creates frustration. Following through even on small actions builds identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who does what they decide. This identity shift is powerful. Discipline becomes part of who you are rather than something you struggle to maintain. Each completed small goal reinforces this self-image. Discipline starts with honesty about capacity. Many people plan based on ideal conditions rather than reality. They assume high energy and unlimited focus. When reality differs, they feel disappointed and give up. Choose goals that fit your current life. If energy is low, start smaller. If time is limited, shorten the task. Discipline grows when goals are realistic and consistent. A practical approach is to define the smallest version of a task that still moves you forward. Instead of planning an hour of work, commit to 10 minutes. Instead of a full workout, commit to a short walk. Instead of writing pages, write a paragraph. Once started, you may continue, but completion of the small goal is enough. This reduces mental resistance and builds trust. Trust with yourself is the foundation of discipline. When you repeatedly keep commitments, you build confidence. You stop relying on motivation because you trust your system. This trust creates calm determination. You act because you decided to, not because you feel like it. This is freedom, not restriction. Discipline also improves when goals are specific. Vague goals invite delay. Clear actions invite movement. Decide what you will do, when and where. This removes uncertainty. When the time arrives, you act without debate. Debate drains energy. Clarity preserves it. Another important aspect is consistency over intensity. One small action repeated daily outperforms occasional bursts of effort. Consistency trains behavior. The body and mind adapt to routine. Over time, what once required effort becomes automatic. Discipline feels lighter because it is no longer a struggle. Resistance will still appear. Some days you will not want to act. This is normal. Discipline is practiced precisely in these moments. When resistance appears, reduce the goal further, but do not skip it. Maintain the chain. Even minimal action preserves continuity. Skipping breaks rhythm. Continuity sustains discipline. Discipline also benefits from tracking. Simple records make progress visible. Mark completed actions. Do not track for judgment. Track for awareness. Seeing consistency reinforces behavior. It provides proof that effort matters. This encourages follow-through even when motivation is low. Avoid tying discipline to emotion. Some days will feel productive, others will feel heavy. Discipline remains steady across moods. You act according to commitment, not feeling. This does not mean ignoring emotions. It means not allowing them to dictate behavior. Emotional awareness combined with steady action builds resilience. Rewarding completion reinforces discipline. Rewards do not need to be extravagant. A moment of acknowledgement is enough. Notice completion. This reinforces effort. Over time, the act itself becomes rewarding. Progress feels satisfying. Discipline becomes self-reinforcing. Another helpful practice is preparing for obstacles. Identify what usually prevents follow-through. Fatigue, interruptions, doubt. Plan responses in advance. When obstacles appear, you already know what to do. This reduces friction. Preparation supports consistency. Discipline strengthens when goals align with values. If a goal feels meaningless, follow-through suffers. Connect small actions to larger purpose. Remind yourself why the effort matters. Purpose provides direction. Direction supports discipline. It is important to avoid perfectionism. Discipline does not require flawless execution. It requires persistence. Mistakes will happen. Missed days will occur. The response matters more than the mistake. Return to the habit without drama. Consistency over time matters more than isolated failures. Discipline also involves restraint. Choosing not to act impulsively is part of following through. When distractions appear, remind yourself of the commitment. This is not suppression. It is choice. You choose long-term benefit over short-term comfort. A useful habit is ending each day with a simple commitment for tomorrow. One clear action. This reduces decision-making in the morning. When the day begins, you already know what matters. Discipline begins before the task starts. Small goals also teach patience. Progress becomes gradual and sustainable. You stop expecting immediate results. You focus on process rather than outcome. This reduces frustration and supports long-term effort. Another key element is self-respect. Following through communicates respect for your own decisions. This strengthens confidence. Confidence supports discipline. The cycle reinforces itself. Discipline does not require harshness. It requires consistency. Treat yourself with firmness and fairness. Adjust goals when needed, but do not abandon them easily. This balance prevents burnout. Social environment also influences discipline. Surround yourself with people who respect effort. Limit exposure to habits that encourage avoidance. This does not mean isolation. It means awareness. Environment supports behavior. Discipline grows quietly. Others may not notice daily actions. Results appear over time. Trust the process. Small efforts accumulate. Avoid comparing your discipline to others. Focus on your own consistency. Comparison distracts from progress. Discipline is personal. Another practice is starting before you feel ready. Waiting for perfect conditions delays action. Begin with what you have. Discipline grows through action, not planning alone. Discipline also improves emotional stability. When actions are consistent, emotions settle. You feel less scattered. This stability supports further discipline. When goals feel stale, revisit purpose. Adjust direction if needed. Discipline supports growth, not rigidity. Daily review helps maintain discipline. Briefly reflect on what you completed. Choose the next step. This keeps momentum. Discipline is not about controlling everything. It is about controlling effort. Focus on what you can do today. This reduces overwhelm. Small goals teach humility. You accept limits and work within them. This honesty supports sustainable growth. Over time, discipline becomes identity. You see yourself as reliable. This identity guides future choices. The path of discipline is simple but demanding. It asks for daily action without drama. Small goals followed through consistently shape character. Commit to keeping promises to yourself. Start small. Act daily, adjust when needed. This steady approach builds discipline that lasts. Discipline built this way supports every area of life. Work improves, confidence grows, stress decreases. Stay patient. Progress is quiet. Discipline strengthens through repetition. Keep going. Chapter 40. Train your mind to prioritize what truly matters today. Most days do not fail because of lack of effort, but because attention is spent on the wrong things. The mind wakes up and immediately reacts to whatever appears first: messages, requests, noise, unfinished thoughts. By the time the day ends, energy is gone, yet the most important work remains untouched. Learning to prioritize what truly matters today is not about doing more. It is about training the mind to choose correctly under pressure. This skill determines whether days feel meaningful or wasted. The mind naturally responds to urgency, not importance. Urgent things shout. Important things stay quiet. Without training, attention follows noise. Prioritization is the act of resisting that pull and choosing direction intentionally. This does not happen once in the morning and then disappear. It is a practice repeated throughout the day. Each choice either reinforces clarity or feeds confusion. True priority begins with understanding that time and energy are limited. When you accept limits, you stop pretending everything matters equally. Not everything deserves attention today. Some tasks can wait. Some distractions feel important but add little value. Prioritization requires courage because it means letting some things go. The first step is defining what matters before the day starts pulling at you. Ask a simple question early in the day. What is the one thing that, if completed, would make today meaningful? This is not about perfection or total completion. It is about progress on what actually moves life forward. Write it down. Keep it visible. This anchors attention. Once the priority is defined, the next challenge is protecting it. Protection requires boundaries. Many people lose priorities because they say yes too easily. Every yes is a trade. You trade time, energy, and focus. Learning to delay response gives space to decide. You do not need to answer everything immediately. Pausing allows intention to guide action. The mind often confuses activity with progress. Being busy feels productive but often avoids important work that feels uncomfortable. Train yourself to notice this pattern. When you feel the urge to switch tasks, ask whether it supports the main priority. This question interrupts automatic behavior. Awareness restores choice. Another important skill is separating planning from doing. Overplanning creates the illusion of control while delaying action. Prioritization becomes clear through movement. Begin working on the chosen task even if conditions are imperfect. Action reveals what matters next. Thinking alone often creates noise. Mental clutter interferes with prioritization. Unwritten commitments occupy attention. Keep a simple list of tasks. Writing them down removes pressure from memory. This allows attention to stay with the present task. The mind prioritizes better when it is not holding everything at once. Time of day matters. Attention is not constant. Schedule the most important task during your strongest hours. This is not indulgence, it is strategy. Important work deserves the best energy. Less demanding tasks can fill lower energy periods. Prioritization also involves deciding what not to do. This can feel uncomfortable. Leaving messages unanswered or tasks incomplete may trigger anxiety. Practice sitting with that discomfort. Remind yourself that choosing depth over breadth creates better results. Anxiety fades as discipline grows. Daily priorities should align with long-term direction. Without direction, daily choices become reactive. Spend time clarifying values and goals. This provides a filter. When opportunities arise, you can evaluate them against direction. Alignment simplifies decisions. The mind resists prioritization because it limits options. Limitation feels restrictive, but it is freeing. When you commit to one direction, attention settles. Scattered minds feel busy but anxious. Focused minds feel calm and effective. Another helpful practice is using time blocks dedicated to priority work. During this time, eliminate optional decisions. Decide in advance what you will work on. When the block starts, you act. This reduces negotiation with yourself. Negotiation drains energy. Interruptions will happen. The goal is not perfection but recovery. When interrupted, return to the priority as soon as possible. Each return strengthens discipline. Do not judge yourself for interruption. Judge only whether you returned. Prioritization improves emotional clarity. When attention is directed, emotions stabilize. You feel less pulled and more grounded. This stability supports better decisions throughout the day. Information intake affects priorities. Excess input introduces other people's urgencies. Limit consumption, especially early in the day. Create space to think before reacting. Silence allows priorities to surface naturally. Another key is learning to finish small parts of important tasks. Completion builds momentum. Momentum reinforces priority. Unfinished work drains attention. Finish something meaningful each day, even if small. Prioritization also requires flexibility. What matters today may change due to circumstances. Training the mind does not mean rigid adherence, it means conscious adjustment. When priorities shift, update them deliberately rather than reacting impulsively. At the end of the day, reflect briefly. Did attention match intention? What pulled you away? What helped you stay focused? This reflection is not for blame, it is for learning. Each day becomes feedback. Prioritization improves confidence. When you regularly complete what matters, you trust yourself more. This trust reduces anxiety and hesitation. Decisions become clearer. The mind often avoids important work because it fears discomfort or failure. Recognize this pattern. Avoidance does not remove difficulty, it delays it. Facing important work early reduces mental weight. Relief comes from engagement, not avoidance. Prioritization is also about energy renewal. Rest supports focus. Without rest, priorities blur. Schedule recovery intentionally. This is not laziness. It is maintenance. Practice saying no kindly and clearly. You do not need to explain excessively. Clear boundaries protect attention. Respect grows when you respect your own time. Another useful habit is limiting daily priorities to 1 or 2. More than that dilutes effort. Completion matters more than volume. Depth beats breadth. The mind learns through repetition. Each day you choose what matters, you strengthen that skill. Over time it becomes natural. Distraction loses power because clarity grows. Prioritization reduces stress because it replaces chaos with direction. Even when days are full, you feel purposeful. Purpose calms the mind. Important work often feels quiet and unspectacular. Do not confuse excitement with value. What matters most may not produce immediate reward. Trust the process. When overwhelmed, return to basics. One task, one step, one moment. Complexity dissolves when attention narrows. Prioritization also enhances relationships. When you choose to be fully present, you listen better. Presence communicates respect. This strengthens connection. Life will always present more options than time allows. Training the mind to choose wisely is essential. This skill supports discipline and focus. Commit to practicing prioritization daily. Keep it simple. Choose what matters. Protect it. Act on it. Reflect and adjust. Over time, days align with values. Effort produces results. The mind feels calmer. Progress becomes visible. This training is ongoing. Each day offers another chance to choose intentionally. Stay patient. Stay consistent. Direction strengthens with practice. Chapter 50. Establish routines that protect time, energy, and mental clarity. Your life does not rise to your intentions, it settles into your routines, and whatever you repeat quietly each day becomes the structure that shapes your energy, your focus, and your results. Most people believe they lack discipline or motivation, when in reality they lack routines that protect what matters. When days are unstructured, attention is drained by decisions, interruptions, and mental clutter. Routines remove that burden. They create order so your mind can work with clarity instead of chaos. A routine is not a rigid schedule designed to control every minute. It is a simple framework that reduces unnecessary choices. Every choice costs energy. When you decide the same things every day, you preserve mental strength for important work. This is how high performers stay consistent without constant effort. They do not rely on willpower, they rely on structure. The first step is recognizing where energy is leaking. Many people feel tired not because they work too much, but because they constantly switch tasks, react to messages, and make decisions without pause. This drains mental clarity. A routine plugs these leaks. It creates predictable patterns that calm the mind. Morning routines are powerful because they set direction before the world intervenes. How you start the day often determines how you move through it. Begin with actions that ground you rather than stimulate you. Simple movements, quiet reflection, or intentional planning prepare the mind for focused effort. This is not about adding more tasks. It is about choosing the right ones. Energy follows rhythm. The body and mind function better when patterns are consistent. Waking, sleeping, eating, and working at similar times stabilizes attention. Irregular schedules create mental friction. Consistency reduces resistance. This makes effort feel lighter. A protective routine also includes boundaries around input. Constant access to information fragments focus. Decide when you will engage and when you will disconnect. This protects mental clarity. You do not need to be available at all times. Selective engagement improves quality of response. Routines should support priorities. Identify the most important work and build routines around it. Schedule focused time early when energy is highest. Protect this time from interruption. Treat it as essential. This is how progress is made steadily. Another aspect is simplifying transitions. Moving from one task to another without pause creates mental residue. Build short transition rituals. A brief pause, stretch, or breath signals a shift. This resets attention. Small rituals maintain clarity throughout the day. Routines also support recovery. Rest is not optional. Without recovery, energy depletes and focus suffers. Build rest into your day intentionally. Short breaks prevent burnout. Consistent sleep restores clarity. This is discipline, not indulgence. Evening routines matter as much as mornings. How you end the day affects how you begin the next. Wind down without excessive stimulation. Reflect briefly on what was completed and what remains. Prepare for tomorrow. This reduces mental noise at night. A routine should be simple. Complexity leads to abandonment. Choose a few actions that matter. Repeat them daily. Allow flexibility when needed. The goal is support, not control. Routines protect time by creating default behavior. When routines are in place, you spend less time deciding and more time doing. Time feels more spacious because it is used intentionally. Routines protect energy by reducing emotional swings. Predictability creates calm. Calm preserves strength. When days feel stable, you respond better to challenges. Mental clarity improves when routines are consistent. The mind relaxes because it knows what comes next. This reduces anxiety. Clarity allows deeper thinking. Avoid copying others' routines blindly. Design routines that fit your life. What works for someone else may not suit your energy or responsibilities. Personal alignment matters. Review routines regularly. Adjust when they no longer serve you. This keeps them effective. Routines should evolve with your goals. Start small, introduce one routine at a time, let it settle, build gradually. This prevents overwhelm. Routines also support self-respect. Following a routine is a commitment to yourself. This builds confidence. Confidence supports further discipline. Protect routines from unnecessary compromise. Occasional disruption is normal. Frequent compromise weakens structure. Decide what is non-negotiable. Routines reduce reliance on motivation. You act because it is time, not because you feel like it. This steadiness leads to results. Clarity improves relationships. When routines protect time, you can be fully present. Presence strengthens connection. A routine is a form of self-leadership. You design how your day unfolds. This control reduces stress. The mind thrives in order. Order does not limit freedom, it creates it. When essentials are handled automatically, you have space to think, create, and grow. Routines also reveal priorities. What you repeat shows what matters. Adjust accordingly. Energy is preserved when tasks are batched. Group similar tasks. This reduces switching cost. Focus improves. Routines help manage expectations. Others learn when you are available. This reduces interruptions. Protect your mornings and evenings. These are sensitive times. Guard them carefully. Routines do not eliminate spontaneity. They provide a foundation for it. When essentials are covered, you can adapt without chaos. Mental clarity grows when routines reduce noise. Silence, space, and order support thought. Commit to routines that support your future self. Think long-term. Small daily actions shape outcomes. Over time, routines become automatic. Effort decreases. Consistency increases. Life feels more manageable. Discipline becomes natural. Focus deepens. Energy stabilizes. Your routines are the quiet force shaping your life. Choose them carefully. Protect them daily. Let them carry you forward. Chapter 6. Practice single tasking to complete meaningful work each day. Nothing meaningful is completed when attention is divided because progress demands presence, and presence cannot exist where the mind is constantly switching. Most people believe they are productive because they stay busy, yet business is often a disguise for fragmentation. Single tasking is the discipline of giving one task your full attention until a clear point of progress is reached. It is not slow and it is not limiting. It is the fastest path to work that actually matters. The mind was never designed to handle multiple priorities at the same moment. Each time you switch tasks, attention does not transfer smoothly. It fractures. Energy is lost in the transition. Even when the switch seems small, the cost is real. Over a day, these costs accumulate into fatigue, confusion, and unfinished work. Single tasking restores efficiency by eliminating these hidden losses. Single tasking begins with a decision. You decide that one task deserves your full presence right now. This decision is simple but powerful. It signals to the mind that wandering is not required. When attention has direction, it settles. When it settles, work deepens. Meaningful work often feels uncomfortable at the start. It requires thinking, effort, and patience. Multitasking offers an escape from this discomfort. Switching tasks creates the illusion of progress without the challenge of depth. Single tasking removes this escape. It asks you to stay. Staying is where growth happens. To practice single tasking, you must first accept that not everything will be addressed at once. This acceptance reduces internal pressure. You are not ignoring other responsibilities. You are choosing order. Order creates clarity. Clarity enables completion. A practical approach is to choose one task and define what completion looks like before starting. Not the entire project, but a clear step. When the goal is specific, attention has a target. The mind works better with clear endpoints. Vagueness invites distraction. Environment plays a critical role. Single tasking requires reducing visual and digital noise. Close unrelated tabs. Silence notifications. Remove objects that suggest other tasks. This is not extreme. It is respectful of your attention. Attention is limited and valuable. Another important aspect is time containment. Single tasking works best within defined periods. Decide how long you will work on the task. This removes the fear of endless effort. When the mind knows there is an end, it resists less. Time boundaries support focus. Discomfort will appear. The urge to check something or shift tasks is normal. Notice the urge without acting on it. This moment is training. Each time you resist, you strengthen attention. The urge passes. Focus remains. Single tasking improves quality. When attention is undivided, details emerge. Errors decrease. Insight increases. Work becomes more satisfying because you are fully engaged. This satisfaction reinforces the habit. Single tasking also improves speed. Though it feels slower at first, momentum builds. Continuous attention moves work forward steadily. There is no need to restart mentally after interruptions. Progress feels smooth. Many people fear that single tasking will reduce responsiveness. In reality, it improves it. When tasks are completed cleanly, there is less backlog. Responses become more thoughtful. Stress decreases. Single tasking supports discipline. It removes negotiation. When one task is chosen, there is nothing else to decide. Decision fatigue decreases. Energy is preserved. Another benefit is emotional stability. Divided attention creates tension. The mind feels pulled. Single tasking creates calm because attention aligns with action. Alignment reduces anxiety. To strengthen this habit, practice single tasking in simple activities. Eat without screens. Listen without interrupting. Walk without checking messages. These moments train attention outside work. Attention is a whole life skill. Single tasking also improves learning. When you study one subject without interruption, understanding deepens. Memory improves. Retention increases. Learning becomes efficient. A common obstacle is the belief that everything is urgent. Most things are not. Urgency is often manufactured by habit or expectation. Question it. Decide what truly requires immediate attention. Single tasking clarifies priorities. Another obstacle is boredom. The mind seeks novelty. Single tasking teaches tolerance for steadiness. This tolerance is strength. It allows you to complete tasks that others abandon. Single tasking requires patience. Results are not always immediate. Trust the process. Completion is the reward. Avoid measuring productivity by hours worked. Measure by meaningful progress made. One completed task matters more than many half-done efforts. Single tasking encourages respect for work. When you give full attention, you honor the task. This respect improves quality and satisfaction. To maintain single tasking throughout the day, plan transitions. Decide in advance what comes next. This prevents drift. Drift invites distraction. Single tasking also improves creativity. When attention stays with a problem, ideas surface naturally. Creativity requires space and continuity. Practice ending tasks intentionally. Mark completion. This closure frees attention. Open loops drain focus. Single tasking does not mean isolation. It means intentional engagement. Choose when to connect and when to focus. Another practical method is writing down distractions as they arise. This acknowledges them without acting. You can address them later. This protects focus. Single tasking builds confidence. Each completed task reinforces self-trust. You begin to believe in your ability to finish. This belief fuels further effort. Single tasking reduces overwhelm. When attention narrows, complexity dissolves. One step at a time becomes manageable. This practice also saves time long-term. Fewer mistakes, fewer restarts, fewer delays. Efficiency improves quietly. Single tasking aligns with discipline because it removes excess. Excess is the enemy of consistency. Simplicity supports repetition. Some days will be more challenging. Accept this. The practice remains the same. Choose one task. Stay with it. Single tasking strengthens identity. You become someone who works deeply and finishes what matters. This identity guides future choices. Do not aim for perfection. Aim for presence. Presence is enough. Commit to completing at least one meaningful task each day through single tasking. This creates a sense of progress regardless of other demands. Over time, this habit transforms work and life. Attention deepens. Stress reduces. Results accumulate. Single tasking is simple but demanding. It asks for your full self. Give it. The return is clarity, progress, and quiet confidence. Stay consistent. Stay patient. Let depth replace distraction. Chapter 70. Reduce information noise and create space for deep thinking. Cut the constant chatter invading your mind and reclaim the clear quiet that makes serious thinking possible. Information arrives like rain, and most days people stand soaked and surprised while trying to do important work. The goal is not to become uninformed, but to take control of what you allow in and when you accept it. When the inflow is managed, thinking gets depth and decisions gain accuracy. Begin by taking inventory of every channel that demands attention. List apps, emails, subscriptions, podcasts, feeds, newsletters, social platforms, and recurring group chats. Seeing them written down makes the problem concrete. This inventory is not for shame. It is a map. With that map, decide which channels serve your goals and which simply steal time. Remove what does not genuinely help you grow or perform better. Keep only the inputs that provide clear value for the life you want. Create a simple filtering rule for new sources. Before subscribing, ask one question: will this item produce action, insight, or long-term improvement? If the answer is no, keep walking. A strict gate prevents accidental clutter from accumulating. Adopt a policy of fewer reliable sources rather than a wide scatter of shallow ones. Depth in a few trusted places beats noise from everywhere. Designate specific windows for consuming news and social content so that intake does not spill into productive time. Pick short, deliberate pockets twice a day or even once for world updates and strictly limit them. When consumption is scheduled, concentration becomes the default rather than constant checking. During other hours, keep electronics in a mode that removes temptation. Replace the habit of constant checking with fixed appointments that reduce mental friction. Reduce the number of open tabs and active apps to a minimum. Each extra window signals another possible interruption. Work from a single document or a tightly curated set of resources. Closing excess tabs and windows reduces the sense of competing urgencies and leaves room for sustained thought. If something must be saved for later use, store it in a read later queue and return on schedule rather than keeping it active in the foreground. Adopt a capture system for passing thoughts and curiosities so they do not derail deep work. Keep a small notebook or a simple digital list where new ideas are recorded quickly and then park. The act of capturing releases the pressure to pursue the idea immediately and frees attention for the task at hand. When the deep work session ends, review the captured items and decide which deserve follow-up and when. Practice a daily period of uninterrupted thinking time that is defended like an appointment with a mentor. Treat this block as non-negotiable work and protect it from meetings, messages, and errands. Enter with one clear question or problem to explore. Start with 20 to 30 minutes and build longer sessions as the habit strengthens. Use a timer to mark the period and commit to exploring the idea without multitasking. The constraint itself sharpens thinking because it forces concentration on what truly matters. Slow reading is a disciplined tool for depth. When approaching an article or chapter, aim to extract a single insight rather than a list of trivial facts. Read actively, underline or annotate, and then summarize the content in one concise sentence in your own words. This practice transforms passive consumption into mental work and increases retention. Over time, the habit raises the standard for what counts as worthwhile material. Cultivate a physical environment that signals thought. A clear desk, minimal distractions, a comfortable chair, and natural light help cognitive focus. Small sensory choices matter. The feel of paper, the weight of a pen, the sound of a distant clock, all anchor attention differently than the siren of a phone. Create a ritual before each thinking session, like making a cup of tea, washing your hands, or breathing 3 slow breaths. Rituals reduce startup friction and prepare the mind for concentration. Batch light tasks and separate them from heavy thinking. Reserve shallow operations like email, triage, quick responses, and administrative chores for fixed slots that do not overlap with creative time. This prevents the low-value work from bleeding into moments that require cognitive energy. When light tasks are grouped, they can be completed faster and without spoiling your mental state. If inputs feel overwhelming, practice ruthless triage. Sort new information into 3 categories: act now, archive for later, or ignore permanently. Be decisive. Ignoring something intentionally is not negligence, it is focus in action. The capacity to dismiss irrelevant material is a core discipline that protects thinking space. Introduce analog thinking exercises to counterbalance rapid digital consumption. Free writing for 5 minutes without correcting handwriting or grammar clarifies muddled thoughts in ways scrolling cannot. Drawing a mind map on paper forces structure and relationships to appear. Walking without a device and narrating observations quietly organizes perception and generates ideas. These low-tech practices reconnect the mind with its natural rhythms and slow the impulse to chase every new stimulus. Set a policy for social inputs. Limit group chats to essential topics and request concise updates from teams rather than continuous commentary. When interacting with others, request that meeting agendas be sent ahead and that discussion be limited to one topic at a time. These norms reduce cognitive overhead and preserve the mental bandwidth needed for complex responsibilities. Conduct a weekly audit of information sources and consumption habits. Spend 30 minutes at the end of the week reviewing what was read, listened to, or watched, and evaluate its real impact on your work or growth. Cancel subscriptions that did not add value. Adjust your scheduled intake times. A weekly check prevents slow accumulation of distraction and keeps your ecosystem aligned with priorities. Practice selective solitude as a way to incubate ideas. Silence is not avoidance, but a method to allow complex thoughts to form. Block out time where you turn inward, no phone, no inputs, and simply think. Use this time to wrestle with hard questions, to plan, or to synthesize what you have learned. Solitude deepens insight because the mind can reorder information without external pressure. Train the habit of summarizing information into useful outputs. After reading a report, write 2 sentences that capture the implication for your work. After listening to a podcast, note 1 strategy you could test. Turning intake into action prevents passive accumulation and makes learning pay off. This habit keeps the flow of information aligned with improvement rather than mere entertainment. Guard emotional triggers that amplify noise. Fear and distraction are cousins. When anxiety spikes, the tendency is to seek more information for reassurance. Recognize the impulse and ask whether another data point will reduce uncertainty or simply prolong agitation. Often a rest, a short walk, or a conversation with a trusted person clarifies perspective faster than more scrolling. Learn to appreciate emptiness as an asset. When your schedule includes blank time, you create opportunities for original thought. Do not rush to fill every gap with content. Open moments are where ideas incubate and creative connections form. Respect those gaps and protect them with as much care as scheduled meetings. Finally, commit to gradual improvement, not wholesale overhaul. Removing all inputs at once creates withdrawal and may be unsustainable. Start by tightening one aspect of intake for a week, such as reducing social feed time or shortening news checks. Observe the impact on clarity and energy, and then expand the change. Small disciplined moves compound and create an information environment that supports rigor and creativity. Reducing information noise is a practical act of self-care for the mind. It requires choices and ongoing maintenance, but the payoff is large. With fewer distractions, thinking becomes deliberate, clearer, and more valuable. The space created is where meaningful work begins and steady progress is made. Hold that space with discipline and the mind will respond with insight and strength. Chapter 80. Strengthen willpower by repeating small disciplined actions daily. Willpower is not a rare gift reserved for a few strong people. It is a skill built quietly through small disciplined actions repeated day after day. Many believe willpower appears in moments of pressure, but in truth it is trained in ordinary moments when no one is watching and nothing dramatic is happening. Each small choice either strengthens or weakens it. What you repeat becomes who you are. Willpower grows through consistency, not intensity. Grand efforts made once in a while do little to change behavior. Small actions done daily reshape the nervous system. The mind learns that action follows decision without negotiation. This is how inner strength is built without struggle. When effort becomes familiar, resistance loses its grip. The mistake many people make is waiting for willpower to appear before acting. Willpower is the result of action, not the cause. Acting first trains the mind to follow. Even minimal action counts. When you act despite low motivation, you send a clear message to yourself that comfort does not control behavior. That message repeated daily builds trust, and trust fuels willpower. Choose actions so small they feel almost insignificant. The size does not matter. The repetition does. 1 push-up, 1 page, 1 minute of stillness, 1 deliberate choice to stop a habit for a moment. These actions create a pattern. Patterns create identity. Identity sustains discipline. The mind resists large commitments because failure feels costly. Small actions remove that fear. You are more willing to act when the risk is low. Over time, the action becomes routine. Routine removes effort. Willpower feels stronger because less is required. Repetition matters more than outcome. Focus on showing up rather than performing perfectly. Completion is the goal. Perfection creates hesitation. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum reduces the need for force. Willpower also strengthens when actions are predictable. Perform disciplined actions at the same time each day. This anchors behavior. The body anticipates the action. Anticipation reduces resistance. Habits are easier when cues are consistent. Another key is removing choice. Decide in advance what action you will take. When the moment arrives, act without debate. Debate drains willpower. Pre-commitment preserves it. The fewer decisions you make, the stronger your follow-through. Willpower is affected by physical state. Hunger, fatigue, and stress weaken resolve. Support willpower with simple care. Eat regularly, sleep consistently, and move daily. This is not indulgence, it is maintenance. A stable body supports a steady mind. Track actions in a simple way. A mark on a calendar or a short note is enough. Tracking makes progress visible. Visible progress reinforces effort. This feedback loop strengthens willpower. Do not punish missed days. Return immediately. Harsh self-judgment weakens resolve. Calm persistence strengthens it. Recovery is part of discipline. Willpower improves when actions align with values. When actions feel meaningful, effort feels lighter. Clarify why the habit matters. Purpose anchors effort. Avoid stacking too many changes at once. Focus on 1 or 2 actions. Success in one area builds confidence for others. Willpower expands through success, not overload. Use environmental cues to support action. Place reminders where they are seen. Prepare tools in advance. Reduce friction. Willpower is conserved when the environment supports behavior. Practice restraint deliberately. Choose one small comfort to delay each day. Delay dessert, delay checking messages, delay rest for a moment. This trains impulse control. Control grows with practice. Willpower is strengthened by finishing what you start. Even small tasks should be completed. Completion builds confidence. Confidence supports further effort. Notice the inner dialogue when resistance appears. Replace negotiation with action. You do not need to convince yourself, you need to move. Consistency over time rewires expectation. The mind learns that effort is normal. Discomfort loses its threat. Action becomes routine. Willpower is not rigid, It adapts. Some days require lighter actions. Adjust size, not frequency. Keep the chain intact. Celebrate effort quietly. Recognition reinforces behavior. Pride in discipline fuels consistency. Willpower also grows through patience. Results may lag behind effort. Trust the process. Discipline compounds. Daily repetition builds emotional stability. When actions are steady, emotions settle. This stability supports decision-making. Avoid comparing your progress to others. Focus on your own repetition. Comparison distracts from discipline. Small actions teach humility. You accept progress takes time. This acceptance reduces frustration. As willpower grows, you will notice a shift. Choices feel easier. Temptations lose urgency. Effort feels natural. This strength extends beyond habits. It influences relationships, work, and stress response. You become reliable to yourself. Commit to one small disciplined action starting today. Keep it simple. Repeat it daily. Protect it over weeks and months. This repetition reshapes character. Willpower becomes part of identity. Discipline built this way lasts because it is gentle and steady. There is no burnout. Trust the process. Stay consistent. Strength grows quietly. Each day is another chance to reinforce the habit. Take it. Chapter 90. Protect your attention by designing clear boundaries around tasks. Your attention is your most valuable asset, and if you do not protect it deliberately, the world will claim it piece by piece without asking permission. Every meaningful result in life flows from focused attention, yet attention is constantly under attack by interruptions, expectations, and mental clutter. To regain control, you must design clear boundaries around how and where your attention is used. Without boundaries, effort leaks away. With boundaries, progress accelerates. Attention is not infinite. Each time it is divided, weakened, or redirected, it loses strength. Many people feel busy all day yet accomplish very little because their attention is scattered across too many demands. They confuse movement with progress. True progress requires sustained focus, and sustained focus requires protection. Boundaries are not restrictions, they are structures that allow depth. The first step is recognizing that attention must be allocated intentionally. You cannot give full attention to everything, so you must decide what deserves it. When tasks are vague, attention drifts. When tasks are clearly defined, attention has a place to land. Clarity is the foundation of boundaries. Know exactly what you are working on before you begin. Undefined tasks invite distraction. A boundary begins before the task starts. Decide when the task begins and when it ends. Time limits give attention a container. Without an end point, the mind seeks escape. With a clear window, focus becomes easier because the effort feels finite. You are not committing forever, you are committing for now. Physical boundaries matter as much as mental ones. Choose a specific location for focused work. When you sit in that space, your mind learns what is expected. Over time, entering the space triggers focus automatically. This reduces the energy required to concentrate. Environment trains attention more powerfully than motivation. Digital boundaries are essential. Devices are designed to compete for attention relentlessly. Silence notifications during focused work. Close unnecessary tabs. Remove temptation rather than fighting it. Attention conserved is attention strengthened. You do not build discipline by resisting distraction endlessly. You build it by designing distraction out of the environment. Boundaries also apply to people. Not every request deserves immediate response. Constant availability fragments attention. Decide when you will be reachable and when you will not. Communicating these boundaries respectfully protects your work and your mental clarity. Saying no to interruption is saying yes to depth. Single task boundaries are crucial. Work on one defined task at a time. Multitasking dissolves attention. When attention jumps between tasks, quality drops and fatigue increases. By keeping one task within your boundary, you allow your mind to fully engage. Depth replaces urgency. Internal boundaries are just as important. The mind generates thoughts unrelated to the task. Do not fight them. Acknowledge and redirect gently. The boundary is not about suppression, it is about return. Each return strengthens attention. Attention grows through repeated redirection. Define success for each task before you begin. When you know what completion looks like, attention has a clear target. Ambiguous goals encourage wandering. Specific outcomes anchor focus. Completion also signals the brain to release the task, preventing mental residue. Transitions deserve boundaries too. Moving from one task to another without pause carries distraction forward. Create small pauses between tasks. Reset attention intentionally. This prevents overlap and preserves clarity. Even a brief moment of stillness restores focus. Protecting attention also means managing energy. Fatigue weakens boundaries. Schedule demanding tasks when energy is highest. Respect your natural rhythms. Attention flows more easily when aligned with energy rather than forced against it. Avoid starting tasks without preparation. Gather materials beforehand. Searching mid-task breaks attention. Preparation creates a seamless flow. Flow emerges when attention is uninterrupted and engagement deepens. Mental clutter erodes attention. Write down concerns before focused work. This clears the mind. Attention is sharper when worries are externalized. A clear mind supports clear boundaries. Do not overcommit your attention. Too many priorities dilute focus. Choose fewer tasks and execute them well. Depth outperforms breadth. Attention concentrated yields better results than attention spread thin. Protect attention by limiting information intake. Constant consumption fragments focus. Choose when to consume and when to produce. Production requires uninterrupted attention. Consumption can wait. Boundaries also protect emotional attention. Avoid engaging with drama during focused periods. Emotional disturbances hijack focus. Choose calm inputs. Emotional stability supports sustained attention. Train attention gradually. Start with shorter focus periods and extend them over time. Endurance grows through practice. Do not expect immediate mastery. Attention strengthens with use. Respect the boundary once set. Avoid checking the clock or questioning the decision. Trust the structure you created. Doubt weakens focus. Commitment strengthens it. After completing a task, close it mentally. Acknowledge completion. This releases attention cleanly. Unfinished loops drain focus. Closure restores capacity. Over time, these boundaries reshape your relationship with work. Focus becomes natural. Distraction loses power. Attention feels stable rather than fragile. Attention protected becomes attention productive. With clear boundaries, work gains depth, quality improves, and progress becomes visible. You feel less overwhelmed because attention is no longer scattered. Design your boundaries deliberately. Guard them consistently. Your attention will reward you with clarity, momentum, and meaningful achievement. What you protect grows stronger. Guard your attention, and it will carry you where effort alone never could. Chapter Hundi. Measure progress with simple metrics and honest weekly reviews. What gets measured gets shaped, and what gets ignored slowly disappears, no matter how strong your intentions once were. Progress is not a feeling, it is a pattern you can observe, refine, and strengthen when you choose to look at it honestly. Without measurement, effort drifts. Without review, days blur together. Measuring progress with simple metrics and facing weekly reviews with honesty is how discipline becomes real and improvement becomes visible. Many people work hard yet feel stuck because they rely on motivation instead of evidence. Motivation rises and falls. Evidence stays grounded. Simple metrics give you a mirror that does not lie. They show you what you actually did, not what you hoped to do or planned to do. This clarity is not meant to judge you, it is meant to guide you. Progress does not need complicated systems. Complex tracking often becomes another distraction. The goal is awareness, not perfection. 1 or 2 clear measurements tied directly to your effort are enough. For example, time spent on meaningful work, days practiced without skipping, tasks completed as planned, or habits followed consistently. These metrics keep your attention on actions you control, not outcomes you cannot fully predict. The power of simple metrics lies in their consistency. When you track the same thing daily or weekly, patterns emerge. You begin to see where discipline holds and where it weakens. You notice which days produce momentum and which days drain energy. Awareness creates choice. Choice creates improvement. Metrics work best when they are visible. Write them down. Keep them in one place. Visibility keeps you accountable to yourself. A number on paper carries more weight than a vague sense in your mind. It turns intention into reality. Weekly reviews are where measurement becomes wisdom. A review is not a performance evaluation, it is a reflection. Set aside a fixed time each week to look back calmly. This moment of reflection protects you from drifting off course for months without realizing it. One honest hour can save weeks of wasted effort. During a weekly review, ask simple questions. What did I plan to do? What did I actually do? Where did I follow through? Where did I avoid effort? These questions are not accusations. They are tools. They point to reality, and reality is where growth begins. Honesty is the core of review. Excuses weaken progress. Justifications delay change. When you name things as they are, without drama or self-criticism, you gain control. Discipline grows from truth, not guilt. Look for trends, not single events. One-off day means little. A repeated pattern means everything. Weekly reviews reveal these patterns. You may notice that focus drops after a certain time of day, or that certain commitments consistently interfere with priorities. This insight allows adjustment. Use reviews to simplify. Remove what does not contribute to progress. Strengthen what does. Progress accelerates when energy is not scattered. Weekly reflection helps you prune unnecessary effort and protect what matters. Metrics should measure behavior, not mood. Mood changes daily. Behavior compounds. Track actions you can repeat regardless of how you feel. This reinforces self-mastery. You learn that progress is built through consistency, not inspiration. Avoid comparing metrics to others. Comparison distorts focus. Your metrics exist to serve your growth, not your ego. Measure against your own standards. The only meaningful comparison is between who you were last week and who you are becoming now. Weekly reviews also reinforce gratitude. Notice what went well. Acknowledge effort. This balances discipline with encouragement. Progress sustained over time requires both firmness and respect for yourself. Adjust goals based on evidence. If a goal is consistently missed, reduce its size. Smaller goals completed strengthen confidence and discipline. Overreaching weakens follow through. Progress thrives on achievable steps. Use metrics to confirm identity. When you see consistent effort recorded, it reinforces who you are becoming. You are no longer guessing whether you are disciplined. You can see it. Identity strengthens when supported by evidence. Weekly reviews prevent self-deception. Without them, the mind rewrites history. With them, reality stays clear. Clarity removes confusion and directs energy. Do not skip reviews during difficult weeks. Those are the weeks that matter most. Avoidance delays correction. Facing reality early prevents small slips from becoming habits. Metrics also reveal hidden wins. Progress often feels slow because results lag behind effort. Tracking effort reminds you that growth is happening even when outcomes are not visible yet. This keeps motivation steady. Keep reviews calm and brief. Overanalysis drains energy. The goal is insight, not rumination. Decide one small adjustment for the coming week and move forward. Weekly reviews turn time into feedback. Feedback turns effort into refinement. Refinement turns discipline into mastery. When progress is measured, time gains meaning. Days stop slipping away unnoticed. You become the observer and the architect of your growth. Simple metrics keep you grounded. Honest reviews keep you aligned. Together, they create a quiet confidence built on evidence, not hope. Progress becomes predictable when measured. Discipline becomes sustainable when reviewed. Growth becomes inevitable when guided by truth. Look at your effort regularly. Adjust without judgment. Continue without hesitation. This is how steady improvement is built week by week, choice by choice, with clarity and self-respect leading the way. Chapter 11. Prioritize rest and recovery to sustain long-term performance. Your body and mind are your most valuable tools, and without rest and recovery, even the strongest effort will eventually fail. Many people chase productivity as if energy were endless, but ignoring recovery is a silent form of self-sabotage. True performance is not measured by hours worked or tasks completed. It is measured by sustained capacity and the ability to consistently show up at your best. Prioritizing rest is not laziness, it is strategy. Without it, momentum collapses and focus fades. Rest begins with intention. Decide that rest is as important as action. Treat it as a non-negotiable part of your daily plan rather than a reward or afterthought. When rest is optional, it is often neglected. When it is intentional, it replenishes energy and sharpens clarity. The strongest performers schedule rest just as they schedule work. Sleep is the foundation of recovery. It is not negotiable. Adequate, quality sleep repairs the body, consolidates memory, and restores mental resilience. Skipping sleep to chase short-term productivity is a hidden debt that compounds. Regularly going to bed and waking at consistent times trains the body's natural rhythms. This consistency enhances alertness, mood, and cognitive performance. Rest is more than sleep. Micro breaks during work sustain attention. Stand, stretch, walk, or breathe deeply for a few minutes every hour. These moments prevent energy from depleting and allow the mind to reset. Even small periods of rest improve decision-making and creativity. Work without these pauses is shallow and fragmented. Recovery also requires mental boundaries. The mind needs periods free from demands, distractions, and urgency. Silent reflection, mindful breathing, or simply sitting without stimulation gives the brain space to restore itself. Constant input overloads attention and diminishes performance. Recovery is not idle time, it is preparation for sustained output. Physical activity enhances recovery when balanced with rest. Movement promotes circulation, releases tension, and strengthens resilience, but overtraining without adequate rest diminishes returns. Listen to your body. Energy levels and soreness indicate when recovery is necessary. Pushing through fatigue repeatedly erodes performance and focus. Nutrition supports long-term performance. Rest is amplified when the body receives adequate fuel and hydration. Balanced meals and water regulate energy levels and cognitive function. Recovery is incomplete if the body is depleted. Treat food and hydration as foundational tools for sustaining effort. Rest must be prioritized even during high-demand periods. It is not a luxury reserved for slow times. Performance peaks when cycles of work and rest are intentional and predictable. Skipping recovery for short-term gain guarantees long-term loss. Protecting rest ensures resilience against pressure and fatigue. Mental recovery involves reducing overstimulation. Avoid excessive exposure to news, social media, or digital input during downtime. This allows the mind to disengage from constant demand. Clarity returns faster when recovery periods are free from distraction. Micro-recovery rituals reinforce daily restoration. A brief walk outdoors, stretching, quiet reflection, or journaling resets energy and focus. These small practices compound over time, sustaining performance and preventing burnout. They are practical habits, not indulgences. Weekly and monthly recovery planning is equally important. Schedule longer periods for rest, reflection, and recharging. This may include a day off, a longer walk, or deliberate disconnection from routine demands. Planning recovery in advance prevents fatigue from accumulating unnoticed. Psychological recovery is critical. Allow yourself moments to pause without guilt. Avoid equating constant action with value. Rest restores mental clarity, strengthens willpower, and enhances decision-making. The mind cannot perform at peak capacity without these intervals. Stress management is part of recovery. Chronic stress consumes energy silently. Incorporate practices that release tension, such as deep breathing, stretching, meditation, or gentle movement. Recovery is both physical and emotional, and neglecting either undermines long-term performance. Even high performers benefit from active rest. Light movement, hobbies, or time in nature stimulates the body and mind without exhausting them. This approach maintains engagement while preserving energy for core priorities. Active recovery prevents stagnation while supporting restoration. Track your energy patterns. Notice when your focus wanes and your body signals fatigue. Use these cues to guide rest. Ignoring natural rhythms weakens performance. Align work and rest with energy peaks and troughs for maximum output. Rest improves creativity. Deep thinking, problem-solving, and insight occur when the mind is not overloaded. Time away from tasks allows the subconscious to organize information and generate solutions. Performance is not only about action, it is also about the mental space that produces clarity. Boundaries are essential to protect recovery time. Communicate clearly when you are unavailable. Defend quiet periods for sleep, breaks, and downtime. External pressure cannot replace internal restoration. Recovery requires discipline as much as work does. Reflect during recovery. Use downtime to evaluate what is working, What is draining energy and where adjustments are needed? Reflection itself is restorative because it provides insight and prevents repeated inefficiency. Recovery and awareness reinforce each other. Prioritizing rest does not slow progress, it multiplies it. Energy preserved today compounds into sustained effort tomorrow. Work done with restored focus is exponentially more effective than work done fatigued. Consistency is key. Daily, weekly and monthly rest practices accumulate into a resilient system. Irregular rest creates spikes and crashes. Regular, predictable recovery produces stable, long-term performance. Rest strengthens resilience to stress. When energy is replenished, challenges feel manageable, decision-making improves, focus deepens, emotional stability rises. Neglecting recovery leaves performance fragile and inconsistent. Recovery also improves health. Chronic fatigue, tension, and stress increase vulnerability to illness. Protecting rest supports immunity, endurance, and overall well-being. Sustainable performance requires a healthy body alongside a disciplined mind. Prioritize rest like you prioritize work. Schedule it, protect it, and honor it. Treat it as a core component of success rather than optional downtime. The strongest performers understand that output and restoration are inseparable. Over time, intentional rest transforms work capacity. Tasks that once felt exhausting become manageable. Focus is sharper. Decisions are clearer. Energy is steady. Performance becomes sustainable rather than sporadic. Rest is not passive, it is strategic. Recovery is a tool you can control, optimize, and rely on to maintain momentum and achieve meaningful results over the long term. Prioritize recovery consistently. Guard your energy fiercely. Protect your focus intentionally. This practice multiplies every effort, preserves clarity, and ensures that performance is not only possible today but sustainable for decades. Chapter 1: Eliminate urgent shallow work to focus on high-impact goals. Urgent shallow work steals energy, attention, and progress while giving the illusion of productivity, and the only way to achieve meaningful results is to eliminate it completely from your day. Most people spend hours responding to emails, attending unnecessary meetings, or completing tasks that feel pressing but contribute little to their long-term goals. These activities fill the calendar but leave nothing of real value behind. High-impact goals require deep focus and uninterrupted time, and every shallow task you allow dilutes your potential. The first step is recognizing the difference between urgent and important. Urgent tasks scream for attention immediately, but often have minimal consequences if delayed. Important tasks advance your vision, build long-term capacity, and produce tangible results. Learning to distinguish between the two is a skill that separates consistent performers from those trapped in business. When your mind automatically prioritizes importance over urgency, efficiency and progress rise naturally. Begin by auditing your day. Write down every task, meeting, and email you handle. Label each as urgent, important, both, or neither. Seeing the pattern on paper reveals how much time is spent reacting to trivial matters versus building meaningful outcomes. This visibility is the first step toward taking control. Eliminating shallow work requires courage and decisiveness. Many habits of business are socially reinforced. People praise speed, responsiveness, and constant activity, not depth or long-term strategy. Accept that saying no to shallow tasks may invite criticism or resistance from others, and prepare to defend your time respectfully but firmly. Protecting your schedule is protecting your potential. Batching and scheduling are essential. Reserve specific windows for shallow tasks such as checking messages, approving minor requests, or completing routine paperwork. Contain these tasks to limited time blocks instead of scattering them throughout the day. When shallow work has boundaries, it stops encroaching on high-value activities. Boundaries prevent distraction from multiplying and allow energy to flow toward impactful goals. Delegation is another tool. Tasks that feel urgent but do not require your expertise should be assigned to others. Trusting capable individuals to handle low-impact responsibilities frees your attention for high-stakes work. Delegation is not avoidance, it is strategic allocation of energy to maximize results. Deep work thrives in protected time blocks. Identify your most important high-impact tasks and schedule uninterrupted periods to work on them. Treat these periods as sacred and defend them against intrusion. Even brief interruptions during focus can diminish effectiveness. The more you guard these sessions, the more value you produce. Automate repetitive tasks whenever possible. Technology and systems can handle routine, shallow work like reminders, follow-ups, or data entry. Automation reduces the cognitive load and preserves attention for the work that truly moves the needle. Every system you build multiplies your capacity and reduces wasted effort. Learn to say no consistently. Declining requests, invitations, or tasks that do not serve your goals is an act of discipline, not rudeness. Each no preserves attention and energy for important work. Saying no is a skill that improves with practice, and the longer you avoid shallow work, the more natural it becomes. Prioritize ruthlessly. Each morning or the night before, list the top 3 tasks that contribute directly to your high-impact objectives. Focus on completing these first. Treat everything else as secondary or optional. Completing even one critical task each day compounds into extraordinary long-term results. Shallow work often creates stress by demanding immediate attention. By controlling its timing, you reduce reactive behavior and increase proactive decision-making. Urgency loses its power when you decide when to handle each task rather than letting it dictate your schedule. Assess each activity for long-term value. Ask, will completing this task move my key goals forward? If the answer is no, either eliminate, delegate, or defer it. When every task aligns with purpose, attention and energy compound rather than dissipate. Create systems to prevent shallow work from accumulating. Organize workflows, checklists, and priority boards so minor tasks are handled efficiently and predictably. A well-structured system prevents reactive chaos and maintains focus on what matters most. Train yourself to tolerate delayed response. Many shallow tasks feel urgent because of cultural or psychological pressure. Recognize that waiting an hour or a day to respond does not threaten your progress. Tolerating delay reinforces control over attention and energy. Eliminate multitasking. Attempting to handle shallow and deep work simultaneously dilutes both. Attention is a limited resource, and dividing it ensures mediocrity. Single tasking on high-impact work while scheduling shallow tasks separately maximizes output and reduces cognitive strain. Reflect on completed work weekly. Review which tasks were truly high value and which were reactive. Adjust priorities, delegate more aggressively, and refine systems to further minimize shallow work in the coming week. Honest reflection strengthens discipline and ensures progress continues. Avoid checking messages or notifications constantly. These are often the source of shallow work disguised as urgency. Schedule focused check-ins at predetermined times instead of allowing constant interruptions. Each unplanned ping steals minutes that add up to hours over a week. Recognize the hidden cost of shallow work. Every moment spent on minor tasks is energy not spent on strategy, creativity, or skill building. The opportunity cost compounds silently and dramatically. Awareness of this loss motivates action to protect focus. Celebrate high-impact completion. Every time a meaningful task is finished, acknowledge it. This reinforces the habit of prioritizing depth over business. Positive feedback strengthens discipline and motivates future high-value actions. Shallow work often tempts the mind because it feels productive and immediate. Recognize the illusion and train attention toward long-term results. Real satisfaction comes from progress that matters, not activity that feels urgent. Commit daily to handling shallow work efficiently and in controlled time blocks while directing the majority of your energy toward high-impact goals. This disciplined focus builds momentum, increases results, and transforms how you spend every day. Over weeks and months, eliminating shallow tasks radically increases capacity. Your mind becomes sharper, decisions more strategic, and accomplishments more meaningful. Energy is no longer wasted, attention is concentrated, and high-impact work becomes the default rather than the exception. Focus on impact, guard your time, and refuse to be consumed by tasks that do not matter. This practice is the cornerstone of sustained achievement, deep satisfaction, and long-term success. Chapter 13T. Develop resilience by facing small challenges and learning quickly. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is forged every time you confront difficulty and refuse to retreat. Life does not test only through large disasters, but through 1,000 small challenges that quietly shape your capacity to endure, adapt, and grow. Facing these small challenges intentionally is the fastest way to build strength, confidence, and the ability to respond to bigger obstacles without fear. Each minor trial is an opportunity to practice perseverance and learn lessons that compound into long-term resilience. Start by welcoming challenges that stretch your current limits. These do not need to be monumental. Simple adjustments such as taking responsibility for an uncomfortable task, speaking up when it feels easier to stay silent, or tackling a problem you have been avoiding all build fortitude. Every action that takes you outside your comfort zone increases your mental flexibility and strengthens the neural pathways that support persistence. Avoiding difficulty provides temporary comfort but erodes long-term capability. Resilience grows when effort meets resistance repeatedly and consciously. Adopt a mindset that sees obstacles as information rather than threats. Each challenge carries insight into your weaknesses, habits, or environment. By observing without judgment, you gain intelligence about yourself and the system around you. When you respond with curiosity instead of panic, you develop adaptability, which is the essence of resilience. Small challenges offer a low-risk environment for experimentation. Approach them strategically. Try different approaches, note what works, and discard what fails. Learning quickly from failure accelerates growth. This method prevents repeated mistakes and builds confidence in your problem-solving ability. Every small success reinforces the notion that difficulty is surmountable. Break challenges into manageable steps. Facing an overwhelming problem all at once can trigger avoidance and fear. Deconstruct tasks into actions you can complete today. Each completed step is reinforcement, showing your capacity to act under pressure. Momentum accumulates gradually, and each step taken strengthens your endurance and belief in your own abilities. Discomfort is a training tool. Notice physical tension, racing thoughts, or emotional unease during a challenge. These signals indicate areas of growth. Instead of resisting discomfort, allow it to exist while continuing forward. This deliberate exposure to discomfort conditions the mind to tolerate difficulty without shutting down. Over time, what once seemed intolerable becomes manageable, and confidence rises naturally. Track lessons learned from challenges. Keep a simple record of obstacles, responses, and outcomes. Reflection transforms experience into actionable insight. Writing things down clarifies patterns and reinforces the connection between effort, strategy, and results. Each note becomes a guide for future situations, reducing uncertainty and anxiety. Embrace feedback as a tool for resilience. When facing a small challenge, seek input from trusted sources. Honest feedback highlights blind spots and encourages correction. Integrating constructive critique into your process builds mental agility and reduces the tendency to repeat errors. Resilience is not stubbornness, it is the capacity to adjust while staying committed to forward motion. Resilience grows when effort is consistent, not sporadic. Facing challenges once in a while produces temporary strength, but repeated engagement with difficulty builds a durable mindset. Treat small challenges as regular workouts for your mental and emotional muscles. The more frequently you expose yourself to manageable trials, the less threatening large obstacles become. Celebrate incremental progress. Each time you meet a small challenge, recognize it. This acknowledgement reinforces persistence and strengthens self-belief. Even minor victories matter because they build the internal proof that you can overcome adversity. The habit of honoring small wins compounds into sustained resilience over time. Avoid perfectionism when facing challenges. The goal is action and adaptation, not flawless execution. Mistakes are inevitable and useful. Learning quickly from missteps without self-criticism accelerates growth. Each imperfect attempt builds competence, confidence, and mental toughness. Prepare mentally before each challenge. Visualize possible outcomes, identify potential obstacles, and consider responses. Mental rehearsal reduces anxiety, increases clarity, and allows you to act decisively when the situation arises. Preparation transforms uncertainty into controlled response, which is the core of resilient behavior. Use challenges to practice patience. Resilience is not about speed, It is about endurance and the ability to maintain composure under pressure. Long-term success requires accepting that progress may be slow and uneven. Viewing challenges as opportunities to strengthen patience ensures you do not collapse under temporary discomfort. Support resilience with physical and emotional self-care. Adequate rest, nutrition, and movement sustain the energy required to meet challenges consistently. Emotional regulation through reflection or mindfulness strengthens the capacity to remain calm during adversity. A strong foundation enables sustained effort and prevents small challenges from becoming overwhelming. Recognize patterns in challenges. Certain difficulties repeat because of habits, environments, or choices. Observing these patterns allows proactive adjustment. Anticipating recurring obstacles reduces their impact and allows for faster, more effective responses. Resilience is built not only by facing difficulty, but by learning to navigate it strategically. Maintain perspective when confronting challenges. Minor difficulties often feel larger in the moment than they are in the context of long-term goals. Keeping focus on bigger objectives reduces stress and preserves energy. Resilience is rooted in clarity of purpose as much as in fortitude. Encourage accountability. Sharing small challenges and your responses with a mentor, peer, or journal reinforces commitment and provides external validation. Accountability motivates consistent engagement and offers opportunities for advice and perspective that accelerate growth. Resilience develops through repeated exposure to discomfort under controlled conditions. When you consistently face small challenges, your tolerance for uncertainty increases, your fear response diminishes, and your ability to act under pressure becomes second nature. The mind and body learn that obstacles are not threats, but signals to act with clarity and strength. Over time, these practices create a durable mindset. Challenges no longer paralyze or provoke unnecessary stress. Decision-making improves under pressure. Emotional stability strengthens. Confidence becomes rooted in experience rather than hope. The small challenges faced and learned from build a foundation capable of sustaining long-term performance. Commit daily to engaging with small challenges intentionally. Observe, act, reflect, and adjust. The repetition of this cycle trains mental toughness and adaptability. Each day of deliberate effort compounds into a resilient character equipped to navigate uncertainty, change, and adversity with clarity, calm, and unwavering focus. Resilience is not luck or circumstance. It is cultivated through consistent, deliberate practice. Facing small challenges, learning quickly, and integrating lessons transforms difficulty into growth. By embracing this approach, every obstacle becomes an opportunity, and every challenge faced contributes to enduring strength, confidence, and capability. Chapter 4. Create a morning ritual that sets tone for your day. The way you start your morning determines the momentum, energy, and clarity you carry through the entire day, and creating a deliberate morning ritual is the single most powerful step you can take to take control of your life. A chaotic or reactive morning leaves the mind scattered, energy drained, and priorities unclear, while a structured, intentional ritual primes focus, discipline, and purpose before the world demands attention. The first hour after waking is the foundation for everything that follows, and investing it wisely multiplies effectiveness, calm, and resilience for the entire day. Begin by defining what matters most to you. A morning ritual is not about copying someone else's habits. It is about crafting actions that align with your goals, energy, and values. Choose activities that strengthen your mind, body, and emotional state. This could include movement, meditation, journaling, reviewing priorities, or reading short, inspiring material. Each element should serve a clear purpose and contribute to readiness for the day ahead. Wake consistently at a fixed time. Regularity trains the body's natural rhythms and reduces decision fatigue. When waking is predictable, energy stabilizes and alertness improves. The brain anticipates morning actions and begins the day in an organized state rather than a reactive scramble. A consistent wake time signals to the body and mind that focus, energy, and discipline are expected immediately. Movement in the morning activates the body and clears mental fog. Whether stretching, a short walk, or deliberate exercise, movement increases blood flow, sharpens attention, and releases stress. Even 5 minutes of intentional movement is enough to transition from sleep inertia to readiness. Physical activation is the bridge between rest and action. Incorporate mindfulness or reflection to cultivate mental clarity. Quiet reflection, deep breathing, or meditation centers attention and reduces stress before it escalates. This practice trains awareness, allowing you to respond to challenges deliberately rather than reactively. Starting the day grounded in clarity enhances decision-making and focus throughout your schedule. Journaling or noting intentions reinforces priorities. Writing down what matters today creates a visual map of effort and expectation. It externalizes thoughts, reducing mental clutter, and increases commitment to meaningful action. Simple entries such as goals, reflections, or gratitude statements set a proactive tone and connect daily behavior with long-term purpose. Hydration and nourishment are practical but essential components. The body performs best when fuel is provided consistently. Drinking water first thing supports energy levels, cognitive function, and physical readiness. Balanced nutrition stabilizes mood and strengthens resilience, preventing fatigue from compromising attention during critical morning hours. Limit distractions during this time. The first hour should be protected from email, social media, news, and external pressures. These inputs fragment attention and condition the mind to react to others' priorities instead of focusing on your own. Early focus on yourself, your body, and your goals establishes dominance over the day rather than surrendering it to outside demands. Structure the ritual for sequential flow. Begin with grounding activities, transition to mental focus, then to physical activation, and end with setting priorities. A predictable sequence reduces decision fatigue and reinforces discipline. When the body and mind know the order of actions, the effort to begin each day decreases and consistency strengthens. Incorporate small victories early. Completing short, deliberate actions first thing creates momentum and a sense of accomplishment. Momentum from the morning carries into subsequent tasks, increasing efficiency and reducing the temptation to procrastinate. Early wins build confidence and reinforce self-discipline. Review high-impact goals during the morning ritual. Align daily tasks with long-term objectives to ensure energy is directed purposefully. This practice prevents drift and ensures that effort is not wasted on trivial tasks. Each morning becomes a chance to recalibrate focus on what matters most. Adapt the ritual to personal energy patterns. Some perform best with intense mental focus first, others require movement before clarity emerges. Experiment and observe which order and activities produce the greatest sense of readiness. Optimization strengthens the impact of each morning and reduces wasted effort. Anchor habits to triggers. A consistent cue, such as a morning alarm, window of sunlight, or preparation ritual, signals the start of the routine. Anchoring simplifies initiation and reduces resistance. When the cue appears, the brain knows what follows, making the habit automatic over time. Include moments of gratitude or intention, setting to cultivate emotional stability. Reflecting on what you appreciate primes a positive mental state, reducing stress reactivity and increasing patience. Emotional preparedness is as important as physical and mental preparation for sustained performance throughout the day. Review progress from the previous day briefly. Identify what went well and where adjustment is needed. This creates continuity, reinforces learning, and ensures incremental improvement. A morning reflection anchors growth in real-world experience rather than abstract hope. Protect the morning ritual from intrusion. Communicate boundaries with family, roommates, or colleagues. The early hour is a sacred preparation period, not a reactive window. Guarding it ensures that energy is invested in deliberate action rather than constant negotiation with external demands. Keep the ritual flexible in length but consistent in purpose. Even 20 minutes of intentional practice is more effective than a long, inconsistent routine. Consistency builds identity. The daily habit reinforces self-discipline and trains the mind to enter a productive state naturally each morning. Evaluate and refine the ritual periodically. Life circumstances, goals, and energy levels change. Adjust activities, duration, and order to maintain maximum effectiveness. Iteration ensures the ritual remains a tool for empowerment rather than a rigid chore. By starting each day with intention, physical activation, mental clarity, and emotional grounding, you create a multiplier effect that enhances every subsequent action. The morning ritual sets the pace, tone, and energy of the day. Discipline, focus, and calm established early carry through every decision, interaction, and task. Over weeks and months, the morning ritual compounds into a foundation of reliability, focus, and readiness. Energy is no longer reactive. Attention is consistent. Priorities are clear. Performance becomes sustainable because each day begins with deliberate preparation rather than reaction. Commit to creating and maintaining your own morning ritual today. Protect the first hour, align it with your goals, and repeat it consistently. Each morning becomes a launchpad for clarity, discipline, and high impact, building a life where effort, energy, and results align seamlessly. Chapter 15 views deliberate practice to improve skills with disciplined repetition. Excellence is not a gift. It is earned through deliberate practice and disciplined repetition. And the difference between talent and mastery is the amount of focused, purposeful effort you are willing to commit consistently. Skill does not improve through casual engagement or passive learning. It grows when you approach every practice session with intention, focus, and clear objectives. Every repetition matters when performed correctly, and every effort builds upon the last to create competence that becomes permanent. Begin by defining the skill you want to improve and breaking it into manageable components. Large or complex abilities become overwhelming without structure. Identify specific elements that can be practiced individually and mastered before integrating them into the whole. Precision matters. Practicing the wrong way repeatedly only ingrains mistakes, so clarity and correctness in each action are essential from the start. Set measurable goals for each practice session. Knowing exactly what to achieve prevents aimless repetition. Instead of vaguely practicing piano or improving writing, target specific outcomes, such as mastering a scale, writing a coherent paragraph, or reducing error in a particular technique. Concrete objectives focus attention and make progress observable. Repetition alone is not enough. Deliberate practice requires active engagement. Mindlessly repeating an action does not create growth. Instead, focus intensely on execution, constantly evaluating performance and adjusting immediately. Self-awareness during practice magnifies the impact of each repetition, creating neural and muscular adaptations that build true skill. Seek feedback regularly. Practicing in isolation limits awareness of errors and opportunities for refinement. Feedback from mentors, peers, or self-review allows you to correct mistakes, reinforce strengths, and accelerate improvement. Incorporate feedback into every session to prevent habits that hinder progress from forming. Divide practice into concentrated sessions rather than extended periods of unfocused effort. Short, focused intervals of high-quality repetition are more effective than long, distracted sessions. The mind and body respond better to consistent, manageable exposure that allows attention to remain sharp and adjustments to be precise. Embrace the discomfort of challenge. Deliberate practice is not meant to be easy. It stretches your abilities and pushes you to the edge of current competence. Mistakes, frustration, and temporary setbacks are indicators that you are targeting areas that require growth. Avoiding difficulty slows improvement, while embracing it accelerates mastery. Track progress meticulously. Record outcomes, error improvements to observe growth over time. Quantifiable tracking transforms subjective perception into objective evidence. Seeing progress, even in small increments, motivates continued effort and ensures that repetition is directed effectively. Consistency is critical. Improvement does not occur in bursts of effort followed by inactivity. Daily or regular repetition ingrains skill at a neurological and physical level. Each session compounds the last, creating long-term improvement that becomes automatic. Mastery is built incrementally through unwavering commitment. Focus on the weakest areas first. Many people gravitate toward practicing what they are already good at, creating illusionary progress. Real growth occurs when effort targets areas of weakness with discipline. Prioritizing improvement over comfort ensures that skills develop fully and reliably. Visualization enhances deliberate practice. Mentally rehearsing correct execution strengthens neural pathways and improves coordination. Combining physical repetition with mental practice accelerates learning and reduces the time needed to consolidate new skills. Visualization also reinforces confidence and reduces anxiety when performing in real situations. Adapt your environment to maximize focus. Remove distractions, create a workspace conducive to concentration, and ensure that tools or materials are organized and accessible. Environment shapes the quality of practice, and deliberate practice requires mental clarity and uninterrupted attention to be effective. Break complex skills into micro skills. Mastering each component individually allows for smoother integration into the complete ability. The human brain and body learn more efficiently when challenges are segmented. Over time, these small wins accumulate into substantial competence. Use deliberate practice to reinforce both technical ability and strategic understanding. For many skills, mastery requires not just execution but also judgment. Practice decision-making, timing, or sequencing alongside mechanics to create fully developed expertise. Depth and breadth of skill emerge through intentional, varied repetition. Rest and recovery amplify the effectiveness of practice. Fatigue diminishes focus and increases the likelihood of ingraining mistakes. Schedule breaks, sleep, and mental downtime to consolidate learning and maintain high-quality effort. Recovery is an essential part of disciplined skill development. Challenge yourself progressively. Increase difficulty, speed, or complexity only when prior levels are mastered. Gradual escalation prevents frustration, reduces errors, and ensures that adaptation occurs at a sustainable pace. Incremental challenge builds confidence alongside competence. Reflect after each session. Analyze what worked, what did not, and what needs adjustment. Reflection transforms effort into insight and ensures that repetition is not wasted on ineffective actions. Review consolidates learning and directs future sessions efficiently. Avoid distractions that create illusionary progress. Social media, multitasking, or casual engagement may feel productive but do not contribute to mastery. Protect practice time as sacred, dedicated solely to improvement and focused repetition. The quality of practice matters far more than the quantity of passive effort. Deliberate practice also develops mental resilience. Repetition in the face of difficulty trains persistence, patience, and focus. Skills are built alongside the ability to tolerate challenge and maintain attention under pressure, creating both competence and character. Celebrate incremental improvements without losing focus on the next challenge. Recognition reinforces motivation while maintaining the discipline necessary for continued growth. Every small improvement validates the process and builds momentum for larger gains. Consistency, focus, feedback, and reflection combine to transform deliberate practice into mastery. Repeated, disciplined, and purposeful effort compounds into ability that feels effortless over time. Skills once considered difficult become second nature, and growth becomes sustainable and predictable. Commit to daily, structured, and intentional practice sessions. Prioritize correctness, track progress, reflect, and gradually increase challenge. Over months and years, disciplined repetition creates a level of skill, confidence, and capability that cannot be achieved through casual effort. Deliberate practice is the pathway from potential to excellence, and the results of focused effort are undeniable and transformative. Chapter 16Z: Simplify commitments and free space for focused, meaningful work. Simplifying commitments is the fastest way to reclaim time, energy, and mental clarity, and the ability to focus on meaningful work depends entirely on what you choose to say yes to and what you courageously say no to. Life's business is rarely productive. It is often a collection of obligations, distractions, and unnecessary tasks that consume attention without advancing your goals. Every extra commitment dilutes focus, scatters energy, and prevents mastery in the areas that truly matter. Freeing space requires deliberate choices, discipline, and a willingness to prioritize depth over superficial activity. Start by listing all current commitments, including work projects, social obligations, hobbies, and recurring responsibilities. Seeing everything in one place clarifies which engagements are essential, which are optional, and which can be removed entirely. This inventory is the foundation for simplification. Once you visualize the total load, it becomes easier to identify tasks and obligations that are misaligned with your highest priorities. Assess each commitment critically. Ask whether it contributes meaningfully to your long-term goals, values, or growth. If it does not, consider eliminating it, delegating it, or postponing it. Many commitments persist by default because saying no feels uncomfortable or socially inconvenient. Recognize that protecting your focus is more important than appeasing external expectations. Decline politely but firmly when necessary. Boundaries are the cornerstone of simplified commitments. Saying no is not selfish, it is strategic. Each time you refuse a non-essential obligation, you protect energy for work that matters. Clarity, confidence, and consistent execution grow when boundaries are respected and others begin to adjust their expectations accordingly. Batch-related tasks to reduce mental switching costs. Instead of scattering minor responsibilities throughout the week, group them into dedicated blocks. This containment reduces cognitive overhead and frees large spans of uninterrupted time for meaningful work. Simplification is as much about structuring what remains as it is about removing what is unnecessary. Automate repetitive or low-value commitments whenever possible. Routine tasks such as reminders, scheduling, or information collection can often be delegated to technology. Automating these small obligations prevents them from consuming mental energy and ensures that attention remains directed at work with real impact. Each system built increases focus and amplifies results. Review commitments regularly. Life changes, priorities shift, and obligations evolve. Conduct a weekly or monthly audit to eliminate new non-essential tasks and adjust schedules. Continuous simplification prevents accumulation of business and protects sustained attention on meaningful objectives. Discipline in review reinforces freedom over time. Limit the number of projects you engage with simultaneously. Multitasking across too many endeavors dilutes quality and slows progress. Focus on fewer, high-impact commitments and complete them with excellence. Depth produces far greater results than superficial breadth, and concentrated effort builds momentum and mastery. Evaluate social obligations with intention. Relationships are essential, but not all interactions carry equal weight. Prioritize connections that support growth, emotional stability, and mutual value. Reducing engagements that are draining or unnecessary creates energy for meaningful contributions and personal development. Simplifying commitments includes mental and emotional space. Avoid overloading the mind with constant planning, decision-making, or worry about minor matters. Mental decluttering improves clarity, reduces stress, and allows energy to flow toward high-value actions. Emotional simplification reinforces focus in the same way physical organization supports performance. Combine simplicity with prioritization. Determine which commitments are both necessary and meaningful. Schedule these deliberately, leaving large, uninterrupted blocks for deep work. A clear hierarchy of tasks ensures that attention is directed purposefully and energy is not squandered on trivial obligations. Practice saying no early. Avoid automatic acceptance of requests. Every commitment agreed to without thought reduces capacity for work that matters. Mindful decision-making ensures that each yes is intentional, aligned, and capable of being executed without stress or distraction. Delegate tasks when possible. Responsibilities that do not require your direct involvement can be entrusted to others capable of completing them. Delegation multiplies your effectiveness, reduces clutter, and allows focus to remain on high-impact activities that only you can perform. Simplify communication channels. Reduce unnecessary meetings, constant notifications, and excessive messaging. Each interruption fractures focus and consumes energy. Consolidate communication, schedule check-in strategically, and avoid reactive engagement unless essential. Protected attention multiplies productivity and prevents shallow work from dominating the day. Create routines for recurring commitments. Predictable patterns for obligations such as household tasks, email, or minor work reduce mental effort. Routine automates small tasks, leaving conscious energy free for meaningful projects. The more you systematize the mundane, the more bandwidth you create for depth. Clarify the purpose of each commitment. Understanding why a task exists allows you to evaluate its true importance. Many obligations are pursued out of habit or obligation rather than genuine necessity. When purpose is clear, eliminating unnecessary tasks becomes easier and more defensible. Reduce commitments gradually. Radical elimination without planning can create chaos. Instead, remove obligations step by step while ensuring essential responsibilities are covered. Gradual simplification builds confidence, strengthens discipline, and prevents stress from sudden change. Protect the time you free. Simplification is only effective if freed space is reserved for meaningful work. Guard it from creeping distractions, reactive tasks, and minor obligations. This deliberate allocation ensures that simplicity produces tangible impact rather than wasted potential. Align commitments with long-term vision. Ask whether each task moves you closer to personal, professional, or growth-oriented goals. Tasks that do not serve this alignment are candidates for elimination. When commitments are intentional, each action contributes directly to progress rather than filling the calendar. Regular reflection reinforces discipline. Take time weekly to assess the effectiveness of simplification, note areas of overcommitment, and adjust accordingly. Reflection prevents slipping back into business and strengthens the habit of intentional engagement. The cumulative effect of simplifying commitments is profound. Energy increases, focus sharpens, and meaningful work becomes possible. Each day, you gain control over how attention is spent, how effort is allocated, and how progress is achieved. Complexity is replaced by clarity, and scattered energy transforms into sustained productivity. Commit today to review every obligation and intentionally reduce what is unnecessary. Free space for deep focus, deliberate action, and work that moves the needle. Simplification is not a reduction of effort, it is a multiplication of effectiveness, energy, and impact. Chapter 7: Sinti Anchor Habits to Triggers to make discipline automatic and easy. Discipline becomes effortless when habits are anchored to consistent triggers, turning intentional action into automatic behavior that propels growth without constant struggle. Most people rely on motivation alone, which fluctuates and leaves progress inconsistent. But when habits are connected to specific cues, action becomes inevitable and predictable. Anchoring habits to triggers transforms willpower from a limited resource into a reliable system that guides behavior without constant mental effort. Identify the habits you want to build and the moments in your day that naturally occur before them. A trigger can be anything predictable: waking up, finishing a meal, walking into a room, or completing a routine task. Pair the habit with the trigger so the action naturally follows. Consistency in timing and context strengthens the association and makes repetition automatic over time. Start small to ensure success. Attempting too much at once overwhelms the mind and leads to failure. Anchor one habit at a time to one clear trigger. Mastery of a single habit sets a foundation for adding additional behaviors. Success breeds confidence and reinforces the system. Use physical cues to reinforce habits. Objects, locations, or tools can signal the brain that it is time to act. For example, placing a journal on your desk reminds you to write, or setting workout clothes where you can see them triggers exercise. Physical reminders strengthen mental association and reduce reliance on memory or motivation alone. Combine habits with existing routines. Known as habit stacking, this technique attaches a new behavior to something already embedded in your daily life. After brushing teeth, perform a short meditation. After making coffee, review your daily priorities. Pairing a new habit with an established routine leverages existing patterns to make change automatic. Track progress to reinforce the connection between trigger and habit. Monitoring completion creates accountability and strengthens the neural pathway linking cue to behavior. Each successful repetition reinforces the automatic nature of the habit, making discipline increasingly effortless. Refine triggers for clarity. A vague or inconsistent cue weakens habit formation. Be specific. Instead of exercise sometime in the morning, define after putting on shoes, start 5 minutes of stretching. Precision reduces friction and ensures the behavior is executed consistently. Celebrate small wins to reinforce habit anchoring. Acknowledging each successful connection between trigger and habit strengthens motivation without relying on temporary willpower. Positive reinforcement makes the association pleasurable and self-sustaining. Address obstacles proactively. Environmental distractions or interruptions can weaken the link between trigger and habit. Prepare the space, remove competing cues, and design your environment to naturally encourage the behavior. Reducing friction ensures the habit activates reliably every time. Anchor habits to emotional triggers when appropriate. Feelings like finishing work, experiencing stress, or completing a challenging task can serve as cues for constructive behavior. For example, when feeling stressed, perform a breathing exercise instead of reactive behavior. Emotional triggers link discipline to natural states, making responses consistent and adaptive. Use repetition to solidify the connection. Each time a habit is performed immediately after its trigger, the brain strengthens the association. Over time, the habit becomes automatic and requires minimal conscious thought. Consistency is more important than intensity in early stages. Avoid relying on motivation. Motivation fluctuates, but anchored habits function independently. Even on low-energy days, the cue initiates action because it is embedded in routine. This creates reliability and reduces the mental energy required to sustain discipline. Experiment with triggers until the habit flows naturally. Not every cue is effective initially. Adjust timing, location, or context until the action occurs seamlessly. The goal is for the trigger to evoke automatic behavior without hesitation or deliberation. Pair habits with immediate rewards. A small, consistent positive outcome strengthens the association and reinforces repetition. Rewards can be intrinsic, like satisfaction, or external, like tracking progress visually. Reinforcement accelerates automatic behavior and strengthens discipline over time. Anchor habits for both micro and macro behaviors. Small daily actions, like drinking water or journaling, benefit from triggers, but so do larger behaviors like weekly planning or skill practice. Consistent application across time scales builds a resilient and reliable system of discipline. Reflect regularly to assess effectiveness. Identify triggers that consistently activate habits and adjust those that fail. Reflection ensures the system evolves with changing circumstances, preventing drift or inconsistency. Adaptive anchoring sustains long-term habit success. Combine multiple habits in sequence when appropriate. Chaining behaviors together creates momentum and reinforces the entire routine. Completing one anchored habit triggers the next naturally, creating a cascade of productive actions that require minimal conscious effort. Minimize friction for habit execution. Remove unnecessary steps or barriers that delay action after a trigger. The smoother the transition from cue to behavior, the more automatic the habit becomes. Design your environment and routines to facilitate immediate response to the trigger. Teach yourself patience. Habit formation takes time, and the connection between trigger and action strengthens gradually. Persistence and repetition are more important than speed. Automatic behavior develops slowly but reliably with consistent effort. Anchor habits to identity, not just behavior. When the trigger aligns with who you want to become, the habit feels purposeful and self-reinforcing. For example, anchoring reading to your morning coffee signals that you are someone who prioritizes learning. Connecting habits to identity strengthens commitment and ensures they endure under pressure. Commit to one habit today and anchor it to a specific, consistent trigger. Execute it daily without negotiation or excuse. Each repetition reinforces the neural link between cue and action, transforming discipline from effortful struggle into seamless automatic behavior. Over time, the accumulation of anchored habits builds a life structured around deliberate action, focus, and sustainable achievement. Chapter 18 in Cultivate Gratitude to balance drive with calm contentment daily. Gratitude transforms the way you experience life by grounding ambition with calm contentment and creating balance between relentless drive and peaceful presence. Many pursue success tirelessly while neglecting to recognize what already exists, creating a sense of endless dissatisfaction. Cultivating gratitude daily does not reduce your ambition. It enhances clarity, resilience, and motivation by anchoring effort in awareness of what is already valuable. Gratitude shifts perspective from scarcity to abundance, making your actions more deliberate and your energy more sustainable. Begin by noticing what is present in your life without judgment. Small details, a supportive friend, a roof over your head, access to food and water, a moment of sunlight, hold immense significance when recognized. Paying attention intentionally to these elements strengthens awareness, reminds you of what is already working, and creates emotional stability to pursue further goals without anxiety or pressure. Create a daily practice of recording things you are grateful for. Writing down 3 to 5 items each morning or evening organizes the mind, shifts focus toward appreciation, and reinforces neural patterns associated with positivity. This simple act trains attention to seek value rather than dwell on frustration, loss, or deficiency. Express gratitude to others consistently. Acknowledging help, kindness, or inspiration strengthens relationships, improves social bonds, and increases overall satisfaction. Expressing thanks does not require elaborate gestures. A message, a note, or a verbal acknowledgement creates connection and reinforces awareness of abundance in your life. Combine gratitude with reflection on personal growth. Recognize your efforts, progress, and resilience alongside external benefits. Appreciating your own capabilities fosters confidence and reduces self-criticism. Self-recognition encourages forward momentum while maintaining inner calm and contentment. Anchor gratitude to routine cues to ensure consistency. Linking it to habitual moments such as waking, eating, or ending work embeds the practice into daily life. Over time, the recognition of what you value becomes automatic, supporting mental stability and balanced drive without requiring deliberate thought each time. Balance ambition with gratitude by reframing challenges. Difficulties and setbacks contain opportunities for growth, learning, and resilience. Gratitude for these experiences transforms frustration into constructive action, reduces emotional turbulence, and sustains focus on long-term goals. Visualize what you often take for granted. Simple visualization exercises of basic comforts, loved ones, and past achievements enhance appreciation and prevent complacency. Awareness of what is available cultivates a mindset of abundance rather than endless pursuit of more, reducing unnecessary stress and promoting calm focus. Practice gratitude physically by pausing and breathing deeply while reflecting. Physical awareness reinforces mental acknowledgement and integrates the practice into embodied experience. The body and mind work together to anchor contentment alongside ambition. Combine gratitude with purpose. Recognize the resources, opportunities, and capabilities that allow you to pursue meaningful objectives. Linking appreciation to action creates a cycle of motivation fueled by awareness rather than pressure or fear. Gratitude does not oppose drive, it informs it with clarity and direction. Reframe comparison with others through gratitude. Rather than feeling envy or frustration over what others have, focus on the benefits, resources, and accomplishments in your own life. This shift maintains contentment, reduces unnecessary mental strain, and allows energy to be directed toward personal progress rather than distraction. Include small acts of kindness as an expression of gratitude. Supporting others strengthens awareness of interconnectedness and reminds you of the value present in daily interactions. Generosity reinforces appreciation, creating a positive feedback loop between inner contentment and external action. Practice mindful awareness of each moment. Observing daily experiences, sights, sounds, sensations, while recognizing their value cultivates presence. Awareness of ordinary details grounds you, reduces anxiety about future goals, and allows focus on meaningful work with calm energy. Develop gratitude for challenges and failures. Reflect on how obstacles shape resilience, teach lessons, and refine goals. Appreciating difficulty does not mean passivity. It strengthens perspective, reduces emotional turbulence, and enables deliberate action under pressure. Limit exposure to constant comparison and negativity. Social media, news, and gossip can skew perception of abundance. Regularly redirect attention toward personal achievements, relationships, and progress. Protecting the mind supports a gratitude-centered mindset and enhances sustained motivation. Combine gratitude with journaling insights. Note moments of growth, lessons learned, and opportunities to improve alongside things you appreciate. Integrating reflection with appreciation strengthens clarity, balances ambition, and creates a resilient, positive mental framework. Recognize the impermanence of each moment. Awareness that life is constantly changing deepens appreciation for current circumstances. This perspective fosters calm contentment and increases mindfulness and inspires deliberate pursuit of meaningful goals. Anchor gratitude to sensory experiences. Notice the taste of food, warmth of sunlight, or sound of wind or music. Engaging the senses enhances connection to the present and reinforces recognition of abundance in ordinary moments. Reinforce gratitude through intentional pauses throughout the day. Taking brief moments to acknowledge what is positive resets emotional state, strengthens attention, and reduces stress. Multiple touchpoints of recognition sustain balance between effort and inner peace. Use gratitude to guide decisions. Awareness of what is valuable clarifies priorities and ensures energy is directed toward meaningful work. Decisions informed by appreciation are more deliberate, less reactive, and more aligned with long-term objectives. Commit to a daily practice of cultivating gratitude alongside pursuit of goals. Each morning or evening, reflect on what you value, express appreciation to others, and acknowledge personal progress. Over time, this practice balances drive with calm contentment, creating energy, focus, and resilience to sustain meaningful action without depletion or distraction. Gratitude is not passive reflection, it is an active mindset that anchors ambition in awareness, transforms stress into clarity, and integrates contentment into the rhythm of daily life. By cultivating this practice consistently, effort becomes purposeful, energy sustainable, and growth aligned with both internal peace and external achievement. Chapter 19. Practice saying no to protect your time and priorities. Saying no is the most powerful tool you have to protect your time, energy, and priorities, and learning to do it consistently is the foundation of focus, discipline, and meaningful progress. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters, and the cost of indiscriminate agreement is scattered attention, drained energy, and delayed achievement. Protecting your boundaries begins with understanding that your time is finite, your energy is valuable, and your priorities deserve unwavering respect. Start by clarifying what matters most to you. When your goals, values, and priorities are clearly defined, deciding what to refuse becomes straightforward. Without clarity, you will drift into obligations that feel urgent, but are ultimately unaligned with long-term objectives. Understanding your own mission empowers you to evaluate requests and opportunities through a lens of relevance and impact. Recognize that saying yes out of guilt or obligation weakens discipline. People-pleasing consumes mental resources, divides focus, and compromises progress. True empowerment comes from conscious choice, not reactive compliance. Each refusal is an assertion of control over your life rather than a rejection of others. Practice saying no verbally and confidently. Clear, simple, and firm communication reduces misunderstandings and reinforces boundaries. Avoid over-explaining, apologizing excessively, or justifying every decision. A straightforward, "I can't commit to this right now," communicates respect for both your time and the other person's request. Use time as a benchmark for refusal. Evaluate requests based on whether they fit within your schedule without sacrificing higher priority commitments. When a task or invitation interferes with meaningful work, it is a clear candidate for refusal. Time is the ultimate metric of opportunity cost, and protecting it preserves energy for high-impact actions. Delay decisions when necessary. If a request arrives unexpectedly, pause to evaluate its alignment with your priorities. Immediate agreement often leads to regret and distraction. A brief period of reflection allows assessment of importance, urgency, and personal capacity before responding. Develop phrases that make saying no easier and less confrontational. Statements like, "I'm focusing on other priorities right now," or "I'm unable to take this on at the moment," are polite yet firm. Rehearsing these phrases reduces hesitation, stress, and emotional resistance when refusal is required. Anchor refusal to your long-term vision. Ask whether accepting this request moves you closer to your goals or creates unnecessary detours. When decisions are grounded in vision, saying no feels purposeful rather than selfish. Each refusal becomes an investment in meaningful outcomes instead of a denial of opportunity. Avoid overcommitting by understanding your limits. Energy, focus, and capacity are finite resources. Taking on more than you can handle reduces quality of work, increases stress, and erodes personal discipline. Protecting limits ensures sustainable performance and consistent alignment with priorities. Recognize social pressure and practice resilience. Requests from friends, colleagues, or family may trigger guilt, fear of disappointment, or obligation. Awareness of these emotional triggers strengthens your ability to respond deliberately rather than reactively. Each successful refusal reinforces confidence and reinforces disciplined decision-making. Delegate or suggest alternatives when possible. Saying no does not have to mean abandoning responsibility entirely. When appropriate, redirecting the request to someone else or proposing a modified approach maintains helpfulness without compromising your own priorities. Delegation amplifies impact while preserving focus. Set boundaries proactively. Inform others of your availability, work hours, or project limitations to reduce unnecessary requests. Clear expectations prevent repeated interruptions and build an environment that supports intentional action. Boundaries signal respect for both your time and the collective workflow. Practice daily small refusals to build skill. Begin with minor requests or distractions and assertively say no. Repetition strengthens confidence, reduces discomfort, and creates automaticity in protecting time. Gradually, saying no to larger or more consequential requests becomes natural and sustainable. Understand the opportunity cost of each yes. Every commitment displaces time that could be used for higher impact activities, personal growth, or meaningful relationships. Evaluating trade-offs ensures that acceptance is intentional and aligned with goals rather than reactive or habitual. Separate personal identity from refusal. Saying no does not diminish your value or relationships. Boundaries are not a judgment on others, but a tool for self-management. Recognizing this distinction reduces guilt and makes saying no emotionally sustainable. Reflect regularly on commitments and outcomes. Periodically review tasks and obligations to identify what could have been refused and what aligns with priorities. Reflection strengthens judgment, prevents overcommitment, and enhances effectiveness over time. Combine saying no with selective yes. Reserve affirmative responses for opportunities that truly matter, produce high impact, or align with long-term objectives. Strategic yes reinforces focus and ensures energy is directed toward meaningful achievements rather than scattered effort. Maintain consistency in refusal. Sporadic or inconsistent application weakens boundaries and encourages repeated intrusions. Firm, predictable limits teach others how to interact with you and reinforce your own discipline. Consistency strengthens autonomy and reinforces prioritization. Recognize emotional benefits of refusal. Protecting time and energy reduces stress, increases clarity, and strengthens mental resilience. Each intentional no creates mental space, improves focus, and supports meaningful progress. Boundaries cultivate calm, balance, and self-respect. Commit to practicing saying no deliberately every day. Each refusal reinforces focus, protects high-priority work, and strengthens discipline. Over time, saying no becomes effortless, natural, and empowering, allowing a life structured around purpose, meaningful achievement, and control over your own attention and energy. Chapter 20. Invest in long-term vision and act with steady consistency. Success is built not in moments of intensity, but in the steady investment of effort toward a long-term vision, and consistent action over time transforms ambition into tangible results. Short-term distractions, sudden excitement, or temporary motivation create fleeting progress, but only deliberate, persistent focus on a clear objective produces meaningful achievement. Long-term vision gives direction to daily actions, aligning effort with purpose, and steady consistency ensures that incremental steps compound into significant outcomes over months and years. Begin by defining your vision with clarity. Know exactly what you want to achieve in the long term, whether it is personal growth, professional mastery, financial independence, or meaningful contribution. The clearer the vision, the easier it becomes to identify necessary steps, make decisions, and resist distractions. Vague goals scatter energy, while a defined vision concentrates effort and creates momentum. Break your vision into actionable milestones. Large goals can feel overwhelming and unattainable, which discourages consistent action. Segmenting objectives into smaller, measurable targets allows you to track progress, maintain motivation, and ensure alignment with your ultimate aim. Each milestone serves as evidence of growth, reinforcing persistence and providing guidance for next steps. Establish daily habits that directly support your long-term vision. Small actions, when performed consistently, create the foundation for larger achievements. Whether it is learning new skills, practicing discipline, or maintaining focus, these habits compound over time and provide a stable framework for sustained progress. Consistency in routine builds reliability, which is the cornerstone of long-term success. Prioritize actions with the greatest impact. Not all efforts contribute equally to your vision, and identifying high-value activities ensures energy is used efficiently. Evaluate tasks based on their relevance to your long-term objectives, and focus on those that produce meaningful results. Avoid becoming busy with tasks that feel urgent but do not advance your ultimate goals. Resist the temptation to seek instant gratification. Long-term vision requires patience, persistence, and the ability to endure delayed results. Immediate rewards are often small and fleeting, while consistent effort toward a larger goal produces outcomes that are substantial, enduring, and transformative. Cultivate discipline by keeping the end result in mind while performing daily actions, regardless of short-term challenges. Track progress consistently to maintain focus and accountability. Regular evaluation of milestones and outcomes allows you to adjust strategies, celebrate growth, and remain aligned with your vision. Measurement ensures that effort is purposeful and provides insight into areas needing improvement, preventing stagnation or wasted energy. Maintain resilience in the face of setbacks. Challenges, failures, and obstacles are inevitable, but consistent action ensures that progress continues despite difficulties. Viewing adversity as part of the journey strengthens perseverance, deepens learning, and reinforces commitment to long-term objectives. Temporary setbacks should not derail consistent effort or weaken dedication. Align your environment with your vision. Surround yourself with people, resources, and circumstances that support your goals. Minimize exposure to distractions, negativity, or influences that discourage consistency. An environment conducive to steady progress reinforces habits, strengthens focus, and accelerates achievement. Invest in continuous learning and adaptation. Skills, knowledge, and strategies must evolve with changing circumstances to remain effective. Commit to improving your capabilities consistently, integrating new insights, and adjusting approaches while keeping the long-term vision in clear view. Adaptation ensures that consistency produces results despite external shifts or unexpected challenges. Focus on long-term habits rather than short-term bursts of effort. Sporadic intensity may produce temporary gains, but only repeated, steady action creates lasting impact. Develop routines that can be maintained over months and years, allowing progress to accumulate and compound into significant achievements. Visualize outcomes to reinforce motivation. Keeping the end goal in mind strengthens commitment and provides clarity for daily choices. Visualization creates a mental roadmap that guides actions consistently, aligning behavior with long-term objectives even when immediate results are not visible. Cultivate patience and avoid comparison. The path to long-term success is unique for each individual, and progress unfolds at its own pace. Comparing yourself to others distracts from personal growth and may lead to frustration. Focus on your trajectory, recognizing that steady effort produces results over time. Commit to small, daily actions that directly contribute to goals. Massive leaps are rarely necessary. Consistent, incremental steps build skill, knowledge, and momentum. Each completed action reinforces self-discipline, strengthens habit formation, and creates tangible progress toward long-term vision. Plan strategically but execute decisively. Planning ensures direction, while execution converts intention into results. Consistent application of plans solidifies habits, develops expertise, and builds confidence. Avoid excessive analysis or over-planning, which delays action and undermines momentum. Maintain a balance between effort and recovery. Long-term consistency requires sustainable energy and mental clarity. Adequate rest, reflection, and self-care ensure that actions remain productive and deliberate. Overexertion may produce temporary results but undermines sustainability and the capacity for steady progress. Celebrate incremental progress to reinforce momentum. Recognizing achievements, even small ones, strengthens motivation, validates effort, and sustains commitment. Regular acknowledgement of growth prevents discouragement and maintains focus on the long-term journey rather than only distant outcomes. Avoid distractions that erode consistency. Social media, reactive obligations, or unaligned tasks fragment focus and reduce impact. Protecting attention ensures that daily actions serve the vision rather than dissipating energy on trivial matters. Consistent boundaries enable deep work and progressive achievement. Develop accountability systems. Share goals with mentors, peers, or trusted partners who can provide feedback, support, and encouragement. Accountability reinforces consistency, ensures follow-through, and strengthens commitment to the long-term vision. Social support amplifies motivation and sustains focus during challenging periods. Anchor actions to identity and purpose. Aligning daily efforts with who you want to become and what you value transforms effort into meaningful activity. When behavior reflects identity, consistency is reinforced naturally, and commitment becomes internalized rather than externally imposed. Commit to acting daily, steadily, and deliberately toward long-term goals. Each action, no matter how small, compounds over time into significant achievement. Consistent effort guided by clear vision transforms ambition into tangible results, builds resilience, and ensures that progress is not left to chance but is earned through disciplined, persistent action.